Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. I evolve infinitely in the Marvel world. Chapter 81 Moving Natural Disaster, please read. There are some rules at celebrity hotels. Although they have to be on call 24 hours a day, they will be there quickly as long as the customer has instructions. But guests cannot force the villa manager of a celebrity hotel to sleep with him. Celebrity hotels have stricter criteria for selecting villa managers. The most important thing is that some rich people and big shots play in a perverted way, which is not something ordinary people can bear, let alone force. If you force them to do something unspeakable, afterwards, he will be reported with his real name, and the boss behind the celebrity hotel will also support him. He will be directly taken to court for trial, and he will have to pay a large amount of money and go to jail. Therefore, unless they are willing, celebrity hotels do not include the service of sharing a bed. The sign of their agreement is that they are willing to wear different clothes when traveling with the guests. Of course, over the years that celebrity hotels have been established, there have been many cases where they were deceived, saying that they were being used and then abandoned. The boss behind the celebrity hotel will not help support this kind of thing, because he is tempted by money and trusts others, and he is also wrong. Most villa managers in celebrity hotels can basically buy a villa all by themselves after working here for about 5 years. If you want to later, you can leave this industry with your reputation and body clean. And this resume is a plus in the eyes of other men. Because appearance, figure, education, knowledge, etc. are all top-notch. However, most of them who have made enough money to leave their jobs have met many different rich people, have extremely high vision, and know many shameful things about men. Therefore, most of them will not get married, but live a carefree life on their own. As a senior employee of the celebrity hotel, Sonia seemed to be bewildered at this last moment. These newcomers or those who have been with us for many years naturally want to try this melon. Harvey and Sonia took a luxury car and spent 30 minutes to the Bandung Convention Center where many rich people gathered. There are all kinds of men in colorful clothes gathered here, some are handsome, some are serious and solemn, but most of them are fat men with rosy faces. And these men are surrounded by beautiful young beauties. Harvey didn't know these women, but from their different styles but all beautiful looks, he could probably guess that they were either models or celebrities. Mr. Cassadine, would you like me to hold your arm? I believe that my current appearance should not make you feel embarrassed. Sonia pulled her hair and hung it on her delicate earlobes, with a charming smile on her face. It was just Sonia's casual movement of pulling her hair that made her look from her delicate earlobes all the way down to her charming collarbones, and beneath her jade shoulders with skin as thick as gelatin, there were seemingly bottomless snow-white peaks. Yes, but you don't have to do this. It's just an auction, not an important occasion. When Harvey saw Sonia saying this, he did not refuse, but just gave a reminder. Okay, I will keep the distance between us. When Sonia heard Mr. Cassadine's words, her beautiful eyes showed a smile. Then, the old driver opened the door. A pair of snow-white and crystal-clear feet stretched out from the car on exquisite high heels. This scene directly attracted the attention of other men around him, and they all looked over intentionally or unintentionally. In a place like this where many people gather, female companions are also an important part of the competition for face. There is a saying that goes well, what you don't get is the best. Therefore, regardless of whether they are married or not or even have a female companion, they also have an appreciative attitude towards other people's female companions. On Xandar, because you can travel to the universe, the prices of cars that can only be driven on Xandar have been completely reduced. The prices of space fighter planes and space battleships have been increased. Therefore, the top luxury car on Xandar only costs over 1 million yuan. Even most of them only cost 7 or 800,000. After all, what's the use of just traveling around the planet? It is a man's pleasure to go to other planets and try out the different interesting beauties from each planet. The car owned by this beauty who has not yet seen the full picture is a top-notch luxury car worth more than 1 million. It can be seen that the owner of this luxury car has a high net worth. Soon Sonia got out of the car. Her excellent appearance, curvy figure, and sexy and charming temperament immediately attracted the attention of many men. When some men saw Sonia, their eyes were a little unbelievable, and some felt unhappy. Because they had also stayed at a celebrity hotel and knew Sonia's identity, they had also invited Sonia to attend certain occasions but were rejected. Although Sonia's attitude was very tactful, the feeling of being rejected was very unpleasant. Not to mention that for people like them with a net worth of hundreds of millions, if the beautiful women around them even want to cheat, it depends on their interest. However, over the years, they have not seen Sonia accompany others on high-end occasions. So even though I feel uncomfortable, others have not been able to do it, so at least I feel better. But now Sonia actually accompanied other guests, which made them feel very unhappy. They wanted to see if the owner of this luxury car was a man or a woman. If it's a woman, then everything is fine, but if it's a man, doesn't it prove that he's not as powerful as that man? This is something even a man can't bear. But when they saw a tall figure wearing purple gold battle armor and a golden mask getting out of the car, Sonia gently held the other person's arm. This made them unconvinced and wanted to compare, which immediately disappeared. Because Kassadan's name had already entered their field of vision long before it resounded across the galaxy. Some of them even wanted to appoint Kassadan to do something for them, but they were rejected. Even if they wanted to retaliate, they couldn't because Kassadan's strength was much more terrifying than that of the Nova Corps. This is the first time in the history of the bounty industry that a person is called a level 3 bounty hunter. It is no exaggeration to say that Kassadan is a humanoid monster comparable to a natural disaster. For others, they can say that they can find the opponent's weakness and use any means to attack the opponent. But facing the monster Kassadan, if they actively antagonized him, they would be seeking death. When Sonia just got out of the car, she immediately recognized several guests who had stayed at the celebrity hotel in the past, and felt their unhappy looks. This made her feel a little pressure, but Sonia found that these sights disappeared immediately after Mr. Kassadan got out of the car. As expected, Mr. Kassadan is still very powerful. This made Sonia feel a little emotional. Please vote and read more. Please everyone, it has been decided that it will be released on July 1st, and there will definitely be more updates by then. Chapter 82 Auction. She had wanted to dress up so as not to embarrass Mr. Kassadan, but it turned out that Mr. Kassadan attracted enough attention when he arrived. Although she saw the void and knew that Mr. Kassadan was very powerful, Sonia didn't know what the outside world's impression of Mr. Kassadan was. So Sonia decided to wait until this matter was finished, go back and investigate, or ask around. Harvey felt the eyes of many people around him who dared not look directly at him, but he didn't mind. Because his identity as Kassadan is different from when he was at Blue Star. He needs to create a strong enough impression on the galaxy in the name of Kassadan to attract more people to join the void. Therefore, it is normal for other people to feel afraid of him. Let's go and finish things quickly. Harvey saw Sonia observing him with her peripheral vision, her eyes full of curiosity, and without any intention of explaining, he spoke. Okay. Sonia now also understands why Mr. Kassadan said that the auction meeting is not an important occasion, but she has dressed up and it is impossible to go back now, so she can only try to get things done quickly. The female companions of these men noticed their sponsors and were a little concerned about this newcomer. So they all looked at Kassadan quietly, wanting to know who this person was. Although they couldn't see Kassadan's whole face, the mysterious and solemn aura of a superior person just from his appearance told them that this person's identity was not simple. Moreover, Kassadan's tall and strong body was completely different from the fat pig next to him. This made them look at Sonia with envy and hatred. Mr. Kassadan, it seems that I need to consider my behavior when traveling with you in the future. Sonia felt the gazes around her that seemed to want to kill her, and whispered in a low voice. She knew that the hostility she felt now would not be so strong if she were just walking together instead of holding hands. I told you, you don't have to do this. Harvey had long been accustomed to the looks of those women, and after hearing Sonia's words, he said calmly. In Blue Star's New York, Harvey is an Asian race that is not very popular in America. With his handsome appearance and legendary rise, he attracts a lot of attention wherever he goes. Naturally, these eyes cannot affect Harvey in the slightest. I will keep it in mind in the future. Sonia heard the reminder in Mr. Kassadan's words and nodded. But Sonia took a look around and felt that they were naive. Indeed, judging from the appearance, Mr. Kassadan is definitely a handsome guy under the mask. But in fact, after taking off the mask, except for the golden light, Mr. Kassadan's face could not be seen at all. If these people knew this, it might not be like this. Regardless of whether Sonia was depressed in her heart, she still had a charming smile on her face. She gently held Kassadan's arm and walked across the red carpet into the venue. This is a stepped corridor with a total of 9 floors. The higher the position, the higher the status. The decoration is extremely luxurious, and it has entered the venue of some large-scale dinner parties. Sonia and Kassadan arrived on the 6th floor. This floor was neither high nor low. It was above average and no one would gossip. Sonia was sitting on the seat. To be honest, she didn't know which piece of land Mr. Cassadine planned to bid for. However, she knew that her duty with Mr. Cassadine this time was that after Mr. Cassadine bid for the land, she needed to sign it to indicate that she was the owner of the land. This kind of thing is not uncommon on the Xandar planet. You can often get a valuable reward by helping to put your name on it, and you will also bear some risks. If she hadn't believed in the void, Sonia would have refused even if Mr. Cassadine offered her a high reward. Because even if it is just a name, some risks are not as simple as jail time, but also require carrying huge debts. If you can't repay such a high debt, you need to be someone else's lover according to other people's will, or even just do customs for the rest of your life to repay it. However, Sonia knew how powerful Mr. Cassadine was and was not worried about any risks. And she also got the reward she wanted, and she can now get rid of the 24-hour on-call job. Although he will still have to serve Mr. Cassadine in the future, compared with serving other guests, the work of serving Mr. Cassadine is not too easy. I have been serving Mr. Cassadine for several months now. She can take a nice bath every night, put on a facial mask and fall asleep in bed. Instead of keeping makeup on every day like before, she could only lean on the sofa and squint for a while, in case a message suddenly came in the middle of the night and she would go to see the guests in a shameful manner. Not only will this damage your reputation among guests, it will also affect the reputation of the celebrity hotel. As time passed, people entered one after another and went to their respective floors. A person in charge of the auction wearing a formal dress began a warm-up speech before the ceremony, welcoming all the big shots and so on. However, the person in charge of the auction also knew what the purpose of these people was, so he did not say polite words for too long. The first bid is for a small offshore island 120 kilometers away from Xandar city. Everyone who comes here should also understand that the location, landform, and even climate and latitude of this island are suitable for transformation into a resort. The location of this island is unique. It is not far from Xandar city. The effect of diversion will be excellent. As long as it is photographed, it will mean countless benefits. The person in charge of the auction released a projection while explaining, and a drone captured all the various landforms and locations of the mountain. Finally, the drone took a bird's-eye view, completely showing the entire mountain in front of the many guests present. The bidding price starts at 200 million, and each bid increase must not be less than 10 million. In the end, the person in charge of the auction announced the lowest price. No one present made a bid immediately, but instead observed the other guests present. The money spent to buy a small island is just the beginning, and the bulk of the funds for subsequent development is. Therefore, use the minimum amount of money to buy an island and save more funds for development, lest the capital chain cannot operate and have to be transferred to other people. Harvey was thoughtful when he saw this island. His purpose was to buy a wider place and build a temple for the Void Cult. The establishment of the Void Cult not only requires the location of a temple, but also a place where people who believe in the Void can become familiar with their own power. Belief in the Void not only gives them strength, but also gives them a place to belong to, which makes their belief in the Void even more pious. It can make them have more respect for the precepts of the Void God religion, so that they will not devour their own people when the Void God religion is first established, which will affect the reputation of the Void God religion. The location of this island was good enough to prevent people who were not from the Void Cult from inexplicably setting foot on the island, so Harvey directly raised his hand and made a bid. 250 million. Please recommend, please vote. Chapter 83 Money blinds the eyes. This price was directly raised by 50 million, causing other guests present to look at the bidder. When they found out that the bidder was Cassadine, most of them gave up. However, several people who were planning to bid for the island also followed suit. 260 million. A tall man with a strong build and a sinewy face raised his hand. 270 million. 280 million. 300 million. As this guy bid, the other three also bid. Those who dare to participate in such an occasion, even if they are not rich enough to rival the country, still start out with a net worth of hundreds of millions. Although they are afraid of Cassadine, once this island is developed, it will attract many interests and double their wealth. Moreover, among the benefits brought by the island, there are still many secret operations that can be done, and they naturally do not want to give them away easily. When the others saw that these people dared to bid with Cassadine, they all watched the show. 350 million. When Harvey faced these bids, he didn't get angry or have any other thoughts. He just quoted again. He wants to establish the Void God religion on Xandar, so his reputation cannot be too bad. To participate in such an event, the winner will naturally be the one with the highest price in fair competition. Using power to solve things just gave Harvey more options than others, but since he could solve it with simpler money, he would definitely use money to solve it. But as soon as the price of 350 million was announced, the 4 people who originally wanted to bid gave up their thoughts. Their goal is to buy the island for 400 million, plus an additional 300 to 400 million for subsequent development. Subsequent steps include advertising, building relationships, etc., which will cost at least tens of millions. It is expected to be completed within 1 billion and be developed and put into operation. Although in the long run, the benefits brought by this island are not low, Kassadin seems to be determined to win this island. The price is too high and the return period is too long. If you continue to increase the price, you may offend Kassadin and it is not worth it. Every 10 seconds, the auctioneer at the auction would gently knock down the hammer with his hand, and the snapping sound echoed throughout the auction hall. Number 634 bids 350 million, one time. Number 634 bid 350 million, twice. Number 634 bid 350 million 3 times. Congratulations to buyer number 634. Please find time to go backstage to sign. A full 30 seconds passed, and no one present bid again. Anyone who can participate in this competitive product fair needs to check their assets. They must have at least a net worth of over 500 million before they can apply for registration. So there is no need to doubt whether the other party has the ability to pay. Among the business giants participating in this competition, there are also some wealthy families, but no matter what their status is, wealthy people know how to avoid disasters and weigh the pros and cons. The island has long-term interests, but it depends on who it is competing with. Although Kassadin has not caused any scandals in the galaxy yet, this does not mean that Kassadin does not have the ability to do it. This world is afraid that people will lose money if they still have it. The richer you are, the more you will be away from danger. When they made a bid to compete with Kassadin just now, they were actively approaching danger. Now they can only hope that Kassadin doesn't want to bid for a piece of land when he sees it. Harvey was a little surprised to see that it was bought for only 350 million. Although the currency purchasing power of the universe is higher than that of the US dollar, he was a little surprised to buy the island with only 350 million. But having bought what he wanted, Harvey didn't care anymore and stood up. When Sonia saw Mr. Kassadin buying an island at a sky-high price, she planned to leave. She quickly got up and took Mr. Kassadin's arm and left together. When the others saw that Kassadin was a troublesome person, they took pictures of the island and went directly to sign autographs, and they all let out a sigh of relief. However, they also paid more attention to the female companion beside Kassadin. Because Kassadin appeared on Xandar not long ago, the female companion he brought was usually someone who signed the contract on his behalf. It's possible that Kassadin was just using Sonia, but it's also possible that Sonia was Kassadin's lover, no matter what. It all means that Sonia is related to Kassadin, and will at least be protected by Kassadin. The other women present also noticed the eyes of their sponsors or bosses, and they all looked at Sonia leaving with jealousy in their hearts. Harvey and Sonia were led by the waiter to a dark room, which was said to be a dark room, but it was still very spacious and bright. Mr. Kassadin, before you pay and sign for the formal receipt, there is a rule that I want to explain to you. Because you haven't lived on Xandar long enough. So you need to find someone from Xandar to sign on your behalf to get this island. If you don't have a target candidate now, you need to pay half of the price first, and we can give you 2 months to find one. If you are willing to pay a handling fee of 1 million, we can also help you find suitable candidates for signing. In this room, a handsome man wearing a formal dress stood up from his chair, bowed slightly and said with a smile. I already understood it before I came here. Just ask her to sign for me. Harvey was not surprised when he heard this rule and said directly. It would be best if Mr. Kassadin knew. Just please be sure to trust my next move. I don't mean any offense to you. I just follow the rules to prevent you from being visited by the Nova Corps in the future, and we will also get into some trouble. When the man heard Harvey's words, the smile on his face became humble and serious. Harvey nodded in acquiescence upon hearing this. This beautiful lady, we need you to provide your identity information. We need to investigate your origins to make sure there are no problems. The man received the promise, looked at Sonia, made a gentleman's salute, and asked politely. Originally, a gentleman should hold a lady's hand as a courtesy, but in places like this, these big shots or rich men bring female companions. Either a mistress or a goddaughter, etc., are taboos for rich people, so naturally they cannot be touched casually. Good. Sonia responded when she heard the words, opened the bag she brought with her, and handed the identity document she had prepared long ago into the other party's hand. Although she has never been a signer in the past, among the guests and colleagues at the celebrity hotel, she has long been familiar with a series of procedures. When the man saw these documents, he turned around in front of Kassadin, took out an instrument and started scanning. Immediately, Sonia's background, where she lived, whether she had any fixed assets in her name, what kind of work she had done, and whether she had any criminal record since childhood were all revealed. Miss Sonia, thank you for your cooperation. After testing, your identity can be signed on behalf of others. So once Mr. Kassadin pays, you can sign your name. The handsome man with the slicked back hair turned around and said with a smile after reading the information. Celebrity hotels initially had many women who were ignorant and helped sign autographs for these rich or important people. And only 1/3 of them are still living well. As for the other 2/3, they basically either went to jail, or tried every means to repay their debts, or even went crazy or died. Therefore, in recent years, the number of female signature agents at celebrity hotels has decreased a lot, and one will only appear every few years. Moreover, they had just joined a celebrity hotel not long ago, and they did not have enough experience to be enchanted by the large amount of money and temptation. Unexpectedly, he actually saw a villa manager who had worked in a celebrity hotel for more than 10 years come to sign on his behalf today. It can only be said that even well-informed women can be blinded by words and money. Please recommend. Chapter 84 Feeling Nourished? After hearing this, Harvey started to pay directly, paying 350 million directly, and other fees such as handling fees had nothing to do with him. Okay, Miss Sonia, you can sign now. The man heard the reply from the small communicator and knew that the money had been successfully transferred. He took out some documents, put them on the table and said. It was just that the man looked at Sonia with some sympathy in his eyes. If you are lucky, you can get a lot of money and even directly own your own mansion as a lover, where you can eat, drink and have fun every day. But not everyone is so lucky. The fate of the signer is often a short-term revelry, but the result may be an abyss of no return. Sonia felt this look and understood what this man was thinking. However, Sonia did not explain, she just signed her name on it and pressed her fingerprints. After pressing the fingerprint, Sonia's information began to be read and uploaded directly to the management network of Xandar Star. After formal registration, her information will be reported to Xandar Star's management system, showing that the holder is her. Although she holds it, it is still Mr. Kassadin who truly controls it. If Mr. Kassadin had not committed any very troublesome crimes, she would be responsible for most of them. Therefore, rich people often give a large sum of money to those who seek to sign on their behalf, but Sonia has gained power that is more important than money. Now that it's done, let's finish it quickly. It's time to go back. Kassadin said after seeing Sonia signing and uploading to the management system. Sonia nodded after hearing this, packed up the documents, and left with Kassadin. Seeing Sonia's obedience, the man shook his head with pity, but did not remind him. If he was reminded, he would offend the famous Kassadin. Harvey and Sonia left the venue and got into the car. You can help me find a reliable and fast decoration company and let them build it according to my requirements. In a month, I'm going to see the completed building. Money doesn't matter, what matters is reliability and speed. Harvey instructed, looking at Sonia. After the Void Temple is built, he can spread the news and let others take the initiative to seek the power to fulfill their wishes. Okay, when I get back, I will sort out the construction companies that meet your requirements, and finally let you select them, and then we can start construction. Sonia responded and began to write down the main 2 requests. What do you do with these files? After Sonia recorded it, she looked at Mr. Kassadin. Just take those documents. You don't have to worry, no one on Xandar can threaten us. Harvey said nonchalantly after hearing this. If he doesn't have to live for more than 5 years, he doesn't need Sonia's help to sign on his behalf. He would not cause trouble on Xandar at will, so he was not worried about the trouble he would cause. However, if he has not committed any crime and the Nova Corps comes to visit, as long as the other party is friendly, then he will be friendly and discuss things with each other. If the other person has a bad attitude, he will be even worse than the other person. Thank you for your comfort, Mr. Kassadin, but since I agreed to sign for you, it means that I have never been worried. Sonia said with a smile upon hearing this. From the moment she came into contact with the void, she knew that the path her future would take had changed. What the future roads and scenery will be like, she can't even imagine now. Because she has a lot of knowledge, but it is always limited to ordinary people, and she cannot understand the world that people with superpowers come into contact with. But it doesn't matter if she doesn't understand. All she has to do is follow the path and follow Mr. Cassidy's footsteps, and she will understand all the unknown things. Harvey was a little dumbfounded when he heard the words, but he also knew that Sonia was a smart woman, so he didn't say any more. The old driver in the car pretended not to hear the conversation coming from behind. He is just a driver. When you are a driver, you must understand the driver's rules. No matter what you hear in the car, you cannot reveal it. Soon, the driver took Harvey and Sonia back to the celebrity hotel, and the two even walked up the hanging ladder together. Where is this going? Come back so soon. It doesn't look like I'm going to a luncheon or a dance, otherwise I wouldn't be back so soon. Sonia's outfit from clothes to jewelry starts at least over 200,000 yuan. Since you are attending in a fancy dress, you must be participating in a more important event. Is there any important occasion today? Let me see, there are quite a few. Shandar Technology Exhibition, Landmark Auction, a celebration dance planned to be held by a real estate leader, the birthday of a big shot. We'll see if we can go out again later. A group of women started gossiping again. Generally, the travel time is at least 1 day, and we only have to have fun outside. Sonia came back with Mr. Cassidy so quickly that they couldn't even guess. After Sonia followed Mr. Cassidy back to villa number 7777, she changed back into work clothes. She bought that dress specifically so that she could travel together and not disgrace Mr. Cassidy. She didn't ask for reimbursement, because it was purely her own wish, but since Mr. Cassidy said that he could be reimbursed, she certainly wouldn't be polite. She planned to finish what she was doing first and then give the price list to Mr. Cassidy. So Sonia quickly got off the hanging ladder and went to the food area. Others in the lobby of the celebrity hotel saw Sonia changing back into work clothes and looked at each other in confusion, even more confused as to what had happened. If Sonia's expression looked a little disappointed, then they could also guess that Mr. Cassidy had gone back on his word. If he is not satisfied with Sonia as his lover, then they will have something to talk about. Because going out with a customer and then being disliked can be a joke for a long time. But if they look at the smile on Sonia's face, they can see that Sonia's mood is not bad at all. And as if being nourished by love, they found that Sonia's skin became whiter, softer, and smoother than before. This made them all murmur in their hearts, whether they should also be close to the sponsor depending on the situation, and receive some nourishment of love so that they can take better care of themselves. Sonia didn't know the trivial thoughts between them, but carefully selected some food and drinks and sent them over. When Sonia returned to the villa, she saw Mr. Cassidy waiting at the table, and she was used to it. Mr. Cassidy seems to be very free these days and does not need to go out. When he doesn't need to go out, except for appearing on time at the dinner table, Mr. Cassidy is like a salted fish the rest of the time. Just like other guests who stay in celebrity hotels, they have no worries about money anyway, so they don't have to worry about anything at all, and they can do whatever they want. Of course, this is only the side that Mr. Cassidy has shown to her in the past few days. For Sonia, there are still many mysteries about Mr. Cassidy. Please recommend. Chapter 85 The Good Guy Meets the King of Rolls. While Harvey was eating lunch, Sonia was selecting construction companies that fit the bill. There are many construction companies that are reliable as long as they pay enough, but there are not that many that are quick to do both. But fortunately, Mr. Cassidy said that money was not an issue, so the scope of Sonia's search became more relaxed. If one cannot do it, just find 3 construction companies and provide employees to take charge of different areas. It only took about 10 minutes to finish eating at Harvey. Sonia found 3 construction companies that met the requirements. Mr. Cassidy, there are 3 companies that can guarantee to start construction immediately and complete the construction and renovation of a small island within 1 month. I wonder if you have any requirements for building facilities. Sonia came to Harvey's side and asked. You don't need to completely transform the entire island. The main thing is to build an atmospheric void temple so that people can have a suitable venue when they come to ask for a visit. When other people who believe in the void just join, they need a place where they can practice adapting to their strength. So it's necessary for gravity devices to have facilities that can withstand more impacts. Furthermore, there are villa areas of different styles, which allow me to change my mood occasionally. Except for these major areas, there are other undeveloped areas. After you consider your plan, please let me know. As long as there is nothing wrong with the plan, you can tell me how much money you need. Harvey had just finished his meal and took a sip of his drink. After hearing Sonia's inquiry, he gave a more detailed request. If a new teacher who joins the void does not adapt to his new strength, he will easily cause some trouble in the early stage. Therefore, it is necessary to provide a training place where they can learn and adapt. Good. After hearing that in addition to these basic requirements, Sonia let herself look at the construction and nodded. Normally, if you want to develop an island and start operating it to make money, you can't really complete it without hundreds of millions. But based on Mr. Casaden's initial request, it doesn't cost much money. That is to say, training venues are more expensive, but villas are not that expensive to build if there is sufficient land. That island belongs to Mr. Casaden's private island. As long as it is not operated to make money, it does not even need to pay taxes. This made Sonia already have a series of construction plans in her mind. Routes and tools for getting in and out of the island are also necessary. There is no doubt that Mr. Casaden can fly and even has the ability to teleport, so he doesn't need this. But others don't have this ability. Since we plan to establish the void cult on Xandar, we must connect with the outside world and allow others to have channels to come over. And Mr. Casaden said that when he is not here in the future, she will take care of it. This means that Mr. Casaden does not stay on Xandar all the time, so it is up to her to figure out how to keep the island running. Harvey sat drinking delicious drinks and eating fruit, watching Sonia make a meal and studying the design drawings while eating. After Sonia calculated the estimated money, all he had to do was pay. This made Harvey feel a little emotional. It felt really good to find a reliable helper and be a boss. But Sonia didn't pay attention. The projection of her left hand on the cosmic communicator outlined the entire building while counting money. The biggest problem in the construction of the temple was the land. She could draw the design directly, so it was not expensive or difficult to build. It was mainly some of the sculptures and inscriptions that she needed to think about. The teachings of the void cult are not complicated, and she had already kept them in mind when Mr. Casaden was chatting with Mr. Dam. Sonia has seen some terrifying behemoths in the void and can draw them, but she needs permission. Mr. Casaden, can the statue of the void temple be sculpted in your image? So Sonia looked at Mr. Casaden, who was sitting on the soft sofa and playing games to relax, and asked softly. Can? Harvey's eyes were all on the large projection in front of him, playing a game, and he answered the question without turning his head. Casaden's identity is the image he intends to show to the outside world, so it is inevitable for the temple to build a statue of his image. As for carvings, just follow the rules and teachings of the void god cult to carve them, right? Sonia saw Mr. Casaden playing games and didn't care. She just heard Ying Yun ask again to avoid any mistakes. Well, currently the void divine religion only has 3 commandments and 1 doctrine, so just engrave those 4. Maybe it will be increased in the future, but it won't be too late to rebuild if it is increased by then. When Harvey heard this question, he temporarily stopped playing the game, thought for a moment, and said. Okay, I see. After statistics, the total construction cost is 153 million. Sonia got a more accurate reply and the tangled problem was solved. She breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile. The total is only 153 million. Harvey turned around in surprise when he heard the price and glanced at Sonia. According to his estimates, the initial funds Sonia asked for from him should start at least 100 million, and as long as the subsequent total does not exceed 500 million, he thinks it will be fine. But Sonia used the word total, which made Harvey feel cheap. Yes, only 153 million. I can draw the design drawings of the temple and the villa. I just need to ask you some questions about your preferences. So the cost of various design drawings can save a lot of money. Villas of various styles. Initially, we will build 4 villas of different styles, which should be enough for you to live in for the time being. If you want to in the future, let me know in advance. It will not be difficult to add more buildings then. So you only need to pay for the construction and decoration and various types of furniture. As for the carvings on the stone tablet, Mr. Casaden will write it yourself, which will earn the respect of other people who believe in the void. I believe that with your ability, it should not be difficult to carve text directly with your finger, so you can save a lot of money on carving the stone tablet. Sonia nodded slightly when she heard this and explained. You actually still understand this? Harvey was even more surprised when he heard this. The reason why Celebrity Hotel has become the most famous hotel in Xandar Star among all the hotels. Partly because the accommodation and food were impeccable. On the one hand, it can provide a specially suitable social occasion, allowing various big figures to get to know each other and discuss more cooperation. On the one hand, we are responsible for service. Different villa managers will have different purposes and attitudes and master different skills. And my main idea is that since I have to do it, I should do my best. So I learned some things in the past and acquired a little bit of skills. I didn't expect it to come in handy today. Sonia felt Mr. Cassaden's surprise and said with a smile. When Harvey heard this gist, he called him a good guy, knowing that he had met the King of Scrolls. Ask for votes. Chapter 86 The Starting Point of the Conquest of Xandar. Harvey had previously wondered why Sonia was able to strengthen her will and control her behavior even though she had already tasted the pleasure brought by food after joining the Void. Now he understands that for Sonia, the most important thing after joining the Void is not to lose her mind. So Sonia directly regarded this as something that must be done well. Even if he said that money was not an issue, Sonia should have regarded herself as a housekeeper, so she started to reduce expenses for herself. Mr. Cassaden, the key to using a large amount of money for this construction is to build roads, villas, training venues, seaports and other venues within a month. A lot of people have to be mobilized for this, and workers' wages will be higher. If it takes longer, as long as the construction is completed within 2 to 3 months, the cost of workers can be saved at least 20 million. Also, according to your requirements, the training facility to be built will cost a lot of money just for the materials. Do you need to know more details? Although Sonia couldn't see Mr. Cassaden's expression, she felt Mr. Cassaden's appreciation and felt a little happy, so she continued to explain. No need, just handle it. It is indeed more appropriate for me to engrave the stone tablet. But there is no need to extend the cycle. There is no shortage of money. As long as we can get them to start construction quickly. After the matter is done, as long as it satisfies me, I will give you some rewards. Harvey shook his head when he heard this, took the cosmic communicator, clicked a few times, and transferred 153 million. Then let me look forward to it. Now I want to find people from the construction company and take them to the island. So maybe when it's dinner time in the evening, I can come back and deliver the food to you. Sonia had a confident smile on her face after hearing this. I'll just find something to deal with in the afternoon. Go ahead. Harvey heard the casual reply and turned around to continue playing games in peace. Sonia got permission, tidied up her appearance, and set out to do things. In the lobby on the first floor of the Celebrity Hotel. The other women were even more confused when they saw Sonia walking out in a happy mood, getting into her luxury car and leaving. The main question of their confusion is thinking about whether Sonia was disliked or deceived. But if they asked directly, they wouldn't be able to get the answer. After all, even if someone does something like being kept, it usually won't be shown blatantly. Because half of the villa managers who work in celebrity hotels are Xandarians, and the other half are aliens, to meet the needs of diversity. It allows guests to experience the exotic customs and a sense of home. However, no matter whether they are people from the Xandar planet or aliens, it is said that they are proud of being kept, and the only ones who make public claims are often ignorant women. Smart people will try their best to hide these deeds to leave themselves a good reputation and a way out. Sonia contacted the 3 construction companies in the car because they had to build different targets and wanted them to see the construction drawings. So she directly asked them to send someone to talk to her. This was the first task Mr. Cassaden assigned her, and she had to complete it to Mr. Cassaden's satisfaction no matter what. While Harvey was playing the game, he suddenly received a notification from the system. 3 people wanted to know about the Void. This allowed Harvey to directly overlook Xandar City and see Dam, who was showing his strength to his 3 companions and kept saying something unknown. So he chose permission without hesitation. Dam and several of his colleagues were on a deserted mountain because they had a break today. Dam, we believe you have gained strength. But is it really useful to keep saying that I hope to join the Great Void? Yeah, I've been chanting for a few minutes. Why don't you apply for us and see if we can go together to meet the Lord Cassaden, the god of the Void? Several tall guards were now wearing civilian clothes, showing off their strong and spacious chest muscles. Lord Cassaden's words are absolutely correct. He said that the Great Void will give everyone a chance. As long as they are pious enough, they can receive the blessing of the Void. Do you want to change your life? Dam said very seriously after hearing this. Of course I do, but we've been talking about it for half an hour. And if I ask you what the Void is, you can't explain it, and there's nothing we can do about it. When the three strong men heard Dam's words, they also showed some helplessness on their faces. When they saw Dam jumping 5 or 6 meters high, they were filled with envy. With this power, even if you can't join the Nova Corps, you can still get a lot of extra money by keeping the status quo for the time being and taking a break from work to move bricks on the same day. It is easy to improve your life. When you become stronger, you will have more choices. Don't be nagging, keep trying. If that doesn't work, I'll have to wait until later, when I have the honor to meet Lord Kassadin and ask in detail. When Dam heard what they said, he said helplessly. It's not that he doesn't want to explain, but it's hard for him to explain it. Because he was directly guided by Master Kassadin to join the Void, so to be honest, he didn't quite understand what the Void meant. He only knew that in the vast universe, he saw the figure of Lord Kassadin and other existences that looked extremely terrifying. Lord Kassadin is one of the many gods in the Void, and he does not expect to reach the level of Lord Kassadin. As long as he can change his life, join the Nova Corps, create some fame, reach the top of his life, have enough wealth and a beautiful wife. Now he is pulling several of his colleagues because he wants to fulfill his original promise and not forget them to see if he can bring them with him. Lord Kassadin gave him the task of spreading the teachings of the Void, and he also said that he expected his performance. Before he could show it, he went over to ask for help dejectedly. No matter how he thought about it, he felt embarrassed. When several strong men heard Dam's words, they knew that Dam would probably not dare to see Lord Kassadin for such a trivial matter. But they also really long for the same opportunities as Dam, and they no longer have to be ordinary guards. So they can only continue to chant. Great Void, Great Lord Kassadin, please give me power. The three of them chanted it more than 10 times with a pious attitude because of their longing. Suddenly the three of them felt that the world in front of them had changed dramatically, and they came to a starry sky. It really happened. Lord Kassadin did not lie to me. When Dam saw his companions, their bodies suddenly soared into the air, and wisps of purple energy emerged from the Void and penetrated into their bodies. Although he has never seen it with his own eyes, he believes that this must be a blessing from Lord Kassadin, the god of the Void. Please recommend. Chapter 87 The Island is Built. After more than a minute, the bodies of several people fell directly to the ground, where they were left to chew on the mud. However, none of the three of them cared whether they were bruised anywhere, and their eyes were full of horror. Could it be that the first person we saw was Master Kassadin's clone? Is that the true identity of Lord Kassadin? Damn, you are actually able to meet such a great being. The three guards were all filled with admiration. Because everything they just saw was far beyond their knowledge. It goes without saying that Lord Kassadin is great. As a senior who joined the Void in advance, I need to explain it to you. The precepts and teachings of the Void God cult. When Dam saw their appearance, he folded his arms and said seriously. Believe in the Void, let alone contribute to Lord Kassadin, at least you can't embarrass Lord Kassadin or cause any trouble. Therefore, there must be a clear plan. First, hide and strengthen yourself, and then find a way to spread the teachings of the Void so that the blessing of the Void can land on Xandar. Barnett, Primo, and Philip saw that Dam looked like a senior and had no objections. Because this is not only the blessing given to them by Lord Kassadin, but also due to Dam's contribution. After Dam gained supernormal strength, he did not forget the brothers who had worked together for many years. And they also want to understand the Void cult and contribute their part to Lord Kassadin. Inside the celebrity hotel, Harvey looked down and saw each of them looking overjoyed and thoughtful. Now he has completed the disaster mission in the bounty mission. Other tasks are not free of money, but they do not allow him to reach the money and evolution points at the same time, so it is not impossible to do them, but the benefits are not that high. Maybe he should consider other ways to make money. If you want long-term operations, you must find a suitable industrial chain that can make money while also providing circulation. It's just that it requires enough people to join the Void before it can operate. Now he still has about 2.8 billion in savings, which should be enough for the time being. I hope that after the Void cult is established, some different talents will join. It's a pity that Tony is now concerned about Blue Star and only thinks about how to become stronger to deal with future crises. Otherwise, Bring Tony over and let him learn various technologies of Xandar. With Tony's talent, he will definitely be able to invent more advanced technology and sell it soon, and he can make money quickly. However, Harvey also knew that this could not be rushed, and Tony had not yet reached the stage of officially entering the universe. The Void God religion is currently extremely short of personnel, let alone rare talents, so everything has to be done slowly. As long as you get through the early stages, everything will be fine. As for prioritizing the idea that rich people can believe in nothingness after donating large amounts of money, Harvey will not do it. Because he would have to take the initiative to do it every time, not to mention the fatigue, and more importantly, it would cause many problems. The first doctrine of Void is that it can give everyone a chance to believe in Void. This is unchangeable. The weaker the strength, the more eager people are to change. They know the powerlessness brought by weakness, so after gaining the power of the Void, they will cherish this hard-won opportunity. At the same time, their belief in the Void will become more and more pious. As long as they are pious enough, they will not do anything that harms the Void religion. The initial goal is definitely to recruit more pious people. He can also rely on many people who believe in the Void to consistently obtain Void energy. This is a win-win situation. Thinking that there were still many things to do in the future, Harvey temporarily put away all the worries in his mind and started playing games with his mind free. If he doesn't take the opportunity to take a rest now, after the Void divine religion is established, he will probably be busy all the time in a short time. Over the next month, Harvey plays after eating every day, while Sonia runs around every day, going to the island to supervise work and prevent workers from being lazy after receiving their wages. She is the designer, so she also has to take a look at the plans of each building to see if there are any flaws. She also needs to discuss the issue of opening routes with the Maritime Planning Bureau. But even though she had to run around every day, Sonia didn't feel any trouble. Instead, I was immersed in the fun of different jobs. Because this is what she longed for before, no longer just working as a villa manager, but to get out of celebrity hotels and experience different things. And she didn't eat much every day, but nearly a month later, Sonia also felt that she had evolved 3 times. It made her strength, stamina, and recovery ability much stronger than before. Even if she runs around every day, she will recover quickly if she rests for half an hour when she is tired. If you let others know that joining the Void will bring about various changes, they will beg for a chance even if they pay a huge price. However, Mr. Cassadine did not charge a large amount of money from him. Instead, after a few simple tests and temptations, he gave her this life-changing opportunity. This gift is more precious than anything else. A month passed quietly. Mr. Cassadine, we can leave. This morning, Sonia has already taken off all her work clothes, and she has already completed her resignation. Yesterday was her last working day, and starting from today, she officially stepped down from her position as villa manager. So Sonia was wearing a white shirt and white hot pants on her lower body. Her long, crystal white legs bloomed in the air. She looked youthful and energetic, and her eyes were extremely shining, as if she was full of hope for the future. Expect. Mr. Cassadine, we can go. I have fulfilled all your requests. Please come with me and take a look. Sonia held a bag in both hands and looked at Harvey with a happy smile on his face. That's all you have? Harvey saw Sonia, who seemed to have broken free of the shackles that had been binding her body, and seemed extremely happy and relaxed, and spoke. Well, I've already asked someone to mail the extra stuff to the island. I know, Lord Cassadine, you can go directly to the island without taking transportation. But this time, please come with me and go to the island via the right road. That way I can tell you more. Sonia smiled and nodded after hearing this. Good. Harvey originally wanted to take Sonia directly to his private island. However, Sonia's request could indeed provide a better understanding of the situation, and he had no reason to refuse. Please vote. Chapter 88 Arrangements are in place. Harvey followed Sonia downstairs, and when he came to the hall, he attracted a lot of attention. This month, Sonia's frequent outings during the day have already spread among other colleagues at the celebrity hotel. Generally speaking, you cannot be so free when you have guests to serve. Sonia is able to be so free, and she obviously has a close relationship with Mr. Cassadine, the guest in room 7777. Until half a month ago, they heard the news that Sonia submitted her resignation. They were all a little curious about what kind of ecstasy soup Mr. Cassadine poured into Sonia, and Sonia actually believed it and chose to resign. But they also noticed that Sonia's mood was getting better day by day. When I saw this time, Sonia walked out of the celebrity hotel in casual clothes with a smile on her face, and she couldn't help but feel a little jealous in her heart. It seems that Mr. Cassadine gave Sonia a lot of freedom, not to mention money and the like. Anyone who can stay in a celebrity hotel for several months is not a billionaire. It's not so much that they don't believe that Sonia can meet such a good customer, it's more that they really don't want Sonia to meet such a good customer. When Sonia walked out of the celebrity hotel, she bowed deeply to the celebrity hotel. Although it was difficult to say that, the competitiveness in celebrity hotels cultivated her. She gained a lot of knowledge and finally met Mr. Cassadine, who appreciated her and gave her the opportunity to change her life. "Let's go, Mr. Cassadine, I'll drive you to take a look." Immediately, Sonia raised her head, turned around, took out the car keys from her bag, and said with a smile. When Harvey heard this, he nodded and followed Sonia into the car. "I have already communicated there and hired a ship. There will be a route in and out in the morning, noon, and evening. Because I live on a small island, except for the 3 flights from Japan, access is not that convenient. So the parking lot has also been repaired. Mr. Cassadine, you don't need to use those, but they are mainly there to provide another entrance and exit for other teachers in the future, as well as transportation conditions for ingredients. As for the chef, based on your previous eating habits, I think it is best to use a split employment system. Similar to celebrity hotels, letting them take responsibility in batches throughout the month can ensure the variety of dishes. Although I also want to directly help you complete the recruitment, it is a bit inappropriate for me to directly decide the salary. So you need to personally review it before you can recruit." Sonia sat in front, lit the engine and started driving directly, while saying, "The chef really needs to think about it carefully. Is there a list?" Harvey said thoughtfully after hearing Sonia's words. Although he hasn't officially gone to take a look yet, Sonia seems to have considered all aspects. "I have already communicated with you. When the time comes, you will be willing to hire someone who will be willing to work for you. However, due to the geographical location, it is inconvenient, so I have prepared some rooms for them." After hearing this, Sonia looked straight at the road ahead and clicked her right hand. A projection appeared in front of Harvey from behind. Harvey saw the appearance and age of some chefs displayed on the projection, which hotels they had worked in the past, and what dishes they were good at. What is the current monthly salary and what is the expected daily salary, everything is clearly marked. There is also a dark check mark in the lower right corner of the projection. It is obvious that as long as he clicks on the check mark, these people will be added to the list. Sonia will take care of the follow-up communication. These daily wages are not outrageous, ranging from about 1,000 5,000 to 3,000 a week, and the highest one a week is only 20,000. It was obvious that they had learned that they had to eat at least 5 meals a day, and they were taking advantage of the holidays to make some extra money. This made Harvey think about it. Currently, he and Sonia were the only people living on the island. However, as more and more people believe in the void, they will need to adapt to the island. After understanding their own power, they will no longer need to live on the island. Therefore, the number of chefs does not need to be too large for the time being. 40 people are enough for rotating production. Based on the calculation that each person's weekly salary is 20,000 yuan, the maximum monthly expenditure of 800,000 yuan is enough. If he wants to save some money, he can give these chefs a salary of about 400,000 yuan a month. Calculating according to the most extreme calculation, the annual compensation for these 40 chefs is only about 10 million at most. Even if he doesn't want to make money in other ways during the year, he can just go out and do a bounty mission, which is enough to pay these chefs. So Harvey didn't deliberately choose the cheapest, but chose based on his own preferences. You must know that eating is not only the way of void evolution, but also the most important enjoyment in void evolution. There is no need to treat your stomach badly just to save some money. You have to save the places in the province, and don't worry about the ones you don't need to save. As long as the experience is good enough. Harvey looked through the list and quickly selected 40 chefs. Although Sonia didn't look in front, she heard the ding-dong sound that kept ringing. Knowing that Mr. Cassadine, as she knew, would not be stingy when it came to food, made her feel at ease. In fact, whether she wants to do these things well or not, it ultimately depends on whether Mr. Cassadine is satisfied with it. But this also let Sonia know some of her thoughts, and she should be able to pass the test. Despite Mr. Cassadine's earning power, he made billions in just a few months. But it's best to let the island achieve a good cycle. The island is very large, and it should be possible to divide an area for planting and breeding. And the permission she applied for to salvage near the island should come in handy. Although Mr. Cassadin didn't say it explicitly, since he planned a place for them to train. This means that some food needs to be provided. If all is provided, the cost of food alone will be a large amount that cannot be ignored. It would also be great to let them each salvage some marine life for eating. She is now officially working for Mr. Cassadin. You can start to consider gradually increasing your food intake and accelerating your own growth. She evolved 3 times in a month and already felt the difference in herself. Therefore, it is not difficult to guess that the people he wants to observe in the future will not be very low in strength. Therefore, her strength must be improved enough to be responsible for controlling the situation of other members of the Void Cult on Xandar when Mr. Cassadin is not on Xandar. Please recommend. Chapter 89, Falling Star Harbor. Sonia drove from the Celebrity Hotel all the way out of Xandar City and headed to Falling Star Harbor. When Sonia's car arrived, a group of people near the harbor waved and said hello. Because in the past month or so, Sonia has been coming here almost every day. A beautiful woman often comes here, and even if you don't know her, you must have met her in person, not to mention Sonia's cheerful personality and eloquent words. Basically everyone has received some small gifts from Sonia. They all also knew that this beauty would live on a small island 40 miles away from now on. This is the closest harbor to the island, and we will definitely have to deal with it in the future. We are here, Mr. Cassadin. Sonia stopped the car on the road to the transport ship and said something. Immediately, when Sonia got out of the car, her hot legs appeared, which directly attracted bursts of whistles and some teasing sounds. Who is this chick? She has such a hot body. If you are pinched by those legs, you will definitely experience the bliss of the world. I didn't expect to see beautiful women when I arrived today. Xandar City is indeed a big city. I must go there to play in the evening. Is there any chance that I can win this girl? Looking at the car, I feel like I can't take it off. It looks like she's only in her early 20s at most, not long into adulthood. To be able to buy a car worth more than 1 million yuan at this age and use it as a means of transportation on land, one must either be a young lady from a high background or have a boss behind her. People who often walk on the sea usually don't see many women on the boat, so whenever they go to a certain seaside city, they must go to have fun. So everyone is a veteran. And their personality and speech are also extremely bold and open. However, they speak boldly but do not dare to be too reckless. The laws on Xandar are still very strict. Xandar will not care if you can make others recognize money and do things between men and women voluntarily, but if you want to use force, you will basically not be able to escape jail. Sonia heard these words and glanced at the mark of the hook on the large ship that was docked in front of the harbor and was unloading cargo. The one who knows this sign is Mingyang Shipping. This company is not a permanent ship in this port and will not have much dealings with it in the future. So she didn't care, came to the back, and took the initiative to open the car door for Harvey. When Harvey stepped out of the car, he attracted more eyes than Sonia. Needless to say, the people who live in this seaport have heard that there is a big shot behind Miss Sonia. Sonia runs here every day, mainly to do errands for that big shot. The people who drove here to unload the goods knew that this was no ordinary man when they saw this tall man with a strong presence wearing a battle armor and a mask on his face. Everyone should be careful in their words and deeds. If others provoke us, the company may still be able to function and get rid of the past. But if we mess with this person, our death may be in vain. The captain of the large cargo ship also saw Harvey and immediately recognized his identity. His eyes shrank and he said sternly, "Captain, do you know him?" The captain's warning made other crew members feel a little guilty. "I don't know him, but I know him. The only level 3 bounty hunter currently in the galaxy. I didn't expect that the rumor that he was on Xandar was actually true." The captain of Mingyang Shipping looked at Harvey with some emotion and awe. In recent months, many bounty hunters have come to Xandar, looking for the legendary 3rd-level bounty hunter Cassadin, the god of the void. They have inquired everywhere but to no avail. There was even a reward of 1 million, and as long as there was accurate information, the person could be found and receive the reward. Now he knows, but he doesn't dare to expose it, because no one knows whether exposing Cassadin's whereabouts will make him unhappy. When the other crew members heard about the 3rd-level bounty hunter, they all remembered some rumors and were so frightened that they stopped talking. Harvey felt that the eyes around him were either full of awe or fear and didn't care. "Which ship is our route?" Harvey looked at Sonia and asked. That's the yacht dock there. There are usually 3 yachts going back and forth. If anyone wants to know about the Void Cult in the future and wants to go to the island, they will send up to 3 yachts depending on the number of people. A small cargo ship transports ingredients every day. Ingredients are shipped by air every week, and the breeding pool and environment have been built. So you don't have to worry about the ingredients not being fresh. If more personnel are added in the future, they can be changed to medium-sized cargo ships, and the frequency of air transportation of food materials can also be accelerated. Sonia heard the words and explained. She didn't know how Mr. Kassadin planned to attract more people to join the Void, but at first, the small passenger ship was enough. Can. When Harvey heard Sonia's words, he nodded slightly in approval. Mr. Kassadin, wait a moment while I ask them to help me deliver my car to the island. Then I will help you identify the route to go. It's 40 nautical miles away from the harbor, and the round trip only takes an hour. When Sonia heard this compliment, she felt a little happy and said with a smile. Harvey agreed again, and Sonia went directly to talk to someone. Harvey stood by the harbor, blowing the oncoming sea breeze. He did not directly overlook the surroundings. For now, Sonia seems to be doing things very safely. But whether it would satisfy him or not, he would have to walk around the island to find out. If it satisfies him, then he can consider giving Sonia some rewards. Sonia quickly communicated with the people and asked them to help transport her car to the island today. Afterwards, Sonia called Harvey to a speedboat near the harbor. The man driving the boat was a tall uncle wearing beach pants and a floral shirt, with healthy wheat-colored skin and looked very sunny. Miss Sonia, doesn't anyone else want to come up with you? When the uncle saw Miss Sonia bringing someone on the boat, he already guessed the person's identity, but he still asked politely to avoid the situation where someone didn't arrive. No, Uncle Mike, just sail the boat. Sonia shook her head and said with a smile. Good. When Mike heard this, he went directly to sail the boat. He did not know the identity of the person Miss Sonia brought. The other party didn't take the initiative to talk to him, so he had better not say hello without permission, so as not to cause any unpleasant things. Mr. Kassadin, please sit down first. Sonia took Harvey to the round table on the yacht deck and said. We haven't hired a formal chef yet, so let's use these to deal with it first. Immediately, Sonia went to the cabin and took out several ice drinks of different flavors from the refrigerator. Fine. Harvey didn't mind and took it. He didn't mean that he wouldn't drink anything other than milk tea, fruit tea, or anything else. Occasionally, he would drink Fiazai happy water. You don't mind, let me introduce you. Seeing that Mr. Kassadin didn't mind, Sonia stood aside and smiled and began to explain the name of the harbor and the specific location of the island. Although Mr. Kassadin did not ask, she felt that it would be useful for Mr. Kassadin to know. Harvey also listened patiently to Sonia's explanation about the route and the island. He really wanted to know the specific location of the island and the way to get there, because he was about to start spreading the news. Please vote for it. It will be released on the 1st of next month. There will be a lot of updates then. Please wait and see. Chapter 90 Arriving at the Private Island. The location of Harvey's private island is 41 nautical miles southeast of Falling Star Harbor. He also learned from Sonia that the reason why this harbor was called Falling Star Harbor was because a meteorite fell on Xandar in the past and caused a disaster. Subsequently, many people from Xandar were attracted to come to find out what was going on. This seaport was transformed into a tourist attraction and the economy of this seaport prospered. Most of the Aboriginal people in the harbor have made a fortune through this, and have moved into Xandar City or other cities on the Xandar planet one after another. When ordinary people get a sudden windfall, most of them don't know how to make good use of the money in their hands to make more money. Therefore, most of them choose the more mediocre method, using their money to go to larger cities to directly buy houses and take root, and then seek development there. Although the distance between Falling Star Harbor and Xandar City is only 80 kilometers, this distance is close to the gate of Xandar City. If we talk about the distance from Xandar City, it is at least more than 200 kilometers, and it is even further away from the city center. It was also as the indigenous people here got rich and went to other cities. In the more than 150 years since the Falling Star incident, the value of treasure hunting under the sea area has been lost. The indigenous people here have also become very few, so the Falling Star is only a legend passed down by word of mouth. Only the islands they purchased will be auctioned to squeeze out the last value of the land. Harvey thought thoughtfully after hearing this anecdote. 150 years is neither a long nor a short time. If the natural evolution of the planet is just a snap, but if there are intelligent creatures living on this planet, 150 years is enough time for the world to undergo very big changes. Immediately, the yacht sailed for half an hour and docked next to the built harbor of a small island. Harvey discovered that this harbor was not as big as Falling Star Harbor, but it was large enough to accommodate large cargo ships. Obviously Sonia has anticipated all the subsequent situations. "Miss Sonia, if I need to pick you up, I can call you." Mike saw Sonia getting off the boat and said hello. "Okay, I will contact you if necessary." Sonia waved her hand and responded. "Mr. Cassadine, please follow me. Do you want to see the temple first, the villa first, or the training ground?" Then, Sonia started walking with Cassadine while asking. "Let's see the temple first." Harvey heard this and spoke. "Villas and the like are actually not important. He wants a few villas just for occasional change of mood when he lives on this island. The main purpose of this small island is to serve as the foundation of the void cult of Xandar. As long as this foundation is established, everything will be easy. Follow this road to the temple of the void god cult, and you can see it from the center of the island. But if you walk there directly, it's a little far. How about I drive you there?" After hearing this, Sonia also knew what Mr. Cassadine was thinking and spoke. "This small island will be the foundation of the void cult on Xandar in the future. No matter what, I want to take a closer look. You'll see it more clearly when you walk." Harvey heard that Sonia built the temple in the center of the island, looked at the repaired road, and thought about it, and said casually, "Good." When Sonia heard the word careful, although she was very confident in her abilities, she also felt a little nervous. Then, Sonia took Harvey on a tour of this uninhabited island. This island was previously undeveloped, so the trees were tall and dense, but under these trees, a new road has now been opened up. It just rained some this morning, and the sunshine gave the earth a scent of earth. Harvey had not been to such a pristine island without any industrial intrusion for a long time, so he looked around with interest. The power of money is indeed great. The roads are neat and smooth, and there are road signs at regular intervals to explain the direction of travel. There is no need to worry about diving into this place alone, just like a silent water splash, not knowing where the direction is. The total area of this island is approximately 327 square kilometers. If you walk along the road from the harbor to the temple, you need to walk more than 30 kilometers. 2/3 of the island is still undeveloped, only roads have been built. We can plan carefully in the future to make the island's funds function well. You don't need to spend a lot of money every year to maintain the island. The development funds can slowly be paid back and start to make a profit. While Sonia was leading the way, she introduced the situation of the island to Mr. Cassadine. Fortunately, she joined the void, evolved several times, and improved her physical fitness. Otherwise, her feet would have been cut off after traveling more than 200 kilometers. From now on, this island will be mainly managed by you. If you want to plan anything, tell me. As long as I see it and you think it's okay, you can apply for funding and build it. Harvey heard that there were still many places that were not developed, and as expected, he spoke. Good. But when the Void God cult has more people, the subsequent development funds will actually be reduced a lot. If everyone has been blessed by the Void, everyone will have extremely strong physical fitness, so everyone will be a good helper in doing strenuous work, and have a long lifespan. Just purchase the corresponding materials and hire relevant professionals for guidance. She didn't feel very happy when she heard that the island would be managed by Sonia for most of the time. She just paused and spoke. She has already heard that Mr. Cassadine's departure may not be just a few days and a half month, but longer. To be honest, Sonia really wanted to ask Mr. Cassadine where he planned to live if he spent so much money but didn't often live on Xandar. But she knew very well that it was obviously not a question that her identity could ask, so she just thought about it in her mind. It's a good thing to be able to save money, but it also depends on whether they are willing to do it. The Void Cult cannot force others to pay, otherwise internal discord will be a matter of time. Discord will be the beginning of chaos. So I understand your desire to save money, but when it comes to money, you have to pay what you have to pay. As long as you have the ability, there are plenty of ways to make money in this universe. Harvey knew Sonia wanted to save money for herself, but he still reminded her. Sonia's abilities are very reliable, and she has a broad vision and has seen a lot of things. But Sonia had just joined the Void not long ago and did not obtain a powerful enough ability, and then relied on that ability to make money easily. So Sonia still maintains the mentality of saving as much as she can. Of course, Harvey doesn't think this mentality is bad. Compared with the kind of immediate expansion of abilities, Sonia's mentality is the best. It's just that the main purpose of the Void cult is to give other intelligent creatures a chance to change, and it is not to use the Void to restrain others for life. And there is no need to actively ask for it. As long as the Void God religion is established, it is only a matter of time before others will support the Void God religion. Instead of being tough and trying every means to exploit a person, it is better for them to be grateful and proactively give back to the Void God cult without restraint. Ask for votes. Chapter 91 I am very satisfied. I understand, everything is up to you. After hearing Mr. Cassaden's words, Sonia understood it thoughtfully and nodded. You have evolved too few times and your body is too weak. I don't force you to come with me. Reach out your hand. When Harvey saw that Sonia understood, he didn't ask those questions again. Instead, he took a look at Sonia's ankles, which turned red, and said. Sonia didn't hesitate after hearing this and stretched out her hand. Immediately, Harvey held Sonia's hand and looked down directly, and the two disappeared on the road. The next second, Harvey brought Sonia to a solemn and sacred golden temple. The temple was composed of earth-yellow boulders and looked majestic. There are stairs one by one from the temple above, and at the end of the stairs is a huge stone platform. There is a 10-meter-high statue above the stone platform that is exactly the same as Cassaden's image. The sculptor's craftsmanship is obviously extraordinary. Very nice. Harvey looked up and saw the color tone of the temple and the statue that perfectly matched his current image, and said with satisfaction. Although the void is dark and void, the temple obviously cannot have darkness as its main tone. The temple built with black as the main tone is unsightly and can easily make people feel depressed at first impression. Sonia asked herself at that time whether she wanted the tone of the void to be dominated by a light atmosphere or a dark void. He just said he wanted it to be bright and grand, and Sonia helped construct it. To be honest, it was pretty good. Although Sonia saw the scenery in front of her changed dramatically and she arrived in front of the temple in an instant, she was not too surprised. Because she had long known that Mr. Cassaden had the ability to teleport. Not to mention that when she obtained the power of the void, she saw Mr. Cassaden's miraculous ability to disappear without a trace in the universe. Thank you Mr. Cassaden for the compliment. But you still need to carve the precepts and teachings of the Void God cult on the stone tablet below the statue, so that other comers will be in awe. Now Sonia heard Mr. Cassaden's slightly satisfactory comment and said with a smile. Harvey nodded when he heard this, and used the power of the void to drag Sonia into the air and fly directly to the platform under the statue, and then released his hold on Sonia's hand. He stretched out his hand and pointed, and Chinese characters appeared on this tall stone monument. When Sonia noticed that Mr. Cassaden took the initiative to let go of his hand, she didn't care. But when she read these words, she found that the translator also pointed out that the language also came from C53. This made Sonia's eyes flash, thoughtfully. In the future, if Mr. Cassaden is away for too long, he may be able to go to C53 to inquire about Mr. Cassaden. Although the language used cannot represent Mr. Cassaden, it is from Blue Star codenamed C53. But Mr. Cassaden often uses this language, which means that Mr. Cassaden should have lived in C53 for a long time. Otherwise he would not have mastered the language of that planet. In the future, I can tell other people who join the void that the precepts and teachings on this stone tablet were carved by you yourself. Sonia was thinking in her mind but did not show it. Instead, she looked at the commandments and teachings that Mr. Cassaden told her before appeared on the stone tablet and said with a smile. I am about to spread the news and empty the faith of more people. It won't be long before someone from Xandar will hear my name and come. You have to explain it to them carefully in the future, and let them take this as a warning, and don't let yourself get lost in the abyss of desire. Harvey heard Sonia's words and spoke. Well, the stone carving has been completed. Now let's go into the temple and have a look. Sonia nodded slightly and said. Harvey nodded after hearing this and followed Sonia into the temple. There is a huge mural above the end of the hall of the temple that depicts the intertwining of night and stars. I'm quite satisfied, but can you tell me why you designed it this way? Harvey asked in surprise when he saw this mural. Because you didn't explicitly ask for the symbol of the void from me. So I drew what I saw when I looked up into the void with your blessing. Although it is not the full view of the void, it is impossible to experience your greatness and dignity. But I believe that after other people who believe in the void see it, they will also realize that this is a symbol that represents the void. And the conference hall and the trial hall have also been set up. If there are any members of the void god religion who violate the precepts in the future, they will be made to obey your judgment in the trial hall. Killing chickens to scare monkeys is also an important part of managing the order of the temple. After hearing this, Sonia also explained the reason for such a design and said, "To be honest, even with a body as huge and vast as Mr. Cassidy's, she couldn't draw the charm with her ability, so she just intercepted the black sky full of stars. Since she believed in the void and saw those incredible sights, other people who believed in the void could probably also see some of them. At that time, you will surely understand why the stars in the sky are signs of the void. Sonia, you didn't disappoint me. You built this temple very well." When Harvey heard that Sonia said that she just drew what she saw, he was thoughtful, but he did not ask in detail. Instead, he nodded with satisfaction and spoke out words of approval without hesitation. "I'll be relieved if you are satisfied." Sonia let out a sigh of relief after hearing this compliment, and the tension and worry in her heart finally dissipated. The temple was the most nervous point for her, because Mr. Cassidy only provided the color tone requirements, and she was free to play the rest. As for the villa, she asked Mr. Cassidy about his preferences in detail and drew some pictures for Mr. Cassidy to make his reference and choice, so she was not worried at all about the villa. Not to mention the training ground, which is a special gravity training ground made of special materials. It is cutting-edge technology. As long as the functions are in place, the place is hard enough to withstand various impact training. Then the appearance is not difficult to the eyes, and it must be able to pass the test. Harvey saw Sonia let out a sigh of relief without concealing it, and knew that his instruction put some pressure on Sonia. "You can think about what reward you want now. Money or power or other conditions. As long as your request is not too outrageous, I will consider helping you complete it as appropriate." Since Sonia handled this matter to his satisfaction, Harvey naturally would not be stingy with giving some rewards, so he spoke directly. "Thanks for the vague and confused tip." Chapter 92, Void Island. "I want more power." Sonia heard that she could make a wish and said without any hesitation. It can be said that she and Mr. Dam both believed in the void, but compared to her, Mr. Dam obviously gained more powerful power. She is confident that she will become stronger in the future, but she has to admit that her starting point is still too low at the moment. Therefore, receiving more blessings and laying a solid foundation can make her future path smoother. As for money, Sonia didn't think about it because she knew that she was about to face a world she had never been exposed to before. She has seen too many officers of the Nova Corps, and the difference between each star from 1 star to 3 stars is not about power or origin. It is the new star suit that can give more powerful power than the low star. So Sonia knows very well that the key to survival in a world where people with superpowers are exposed is not beauty, money, or power. It's about having enough power to protect yourself in the face of any emergencies. When Harvey saw Sonia's immediate answer, he didn't persuade her to say anything. He just stretched out his hand and the purple void energy poured directly into Sonia's body with life energy. Void energy and life energy rapidly strengthened every cell in Sonia's body. It was also because of the infusion of void energy that Sonia's pure temperament gained an invisible charm. "Great Mr. Cassidy, thank you for your kindness." Sonia felt that her senses and strength had been improved. She glanced at the reflective wall and bowed deeply to thank Harvey. "This is the reward you deserve. You go get used to your strength first, and then find those chefs. I'll wait for you at the villa." Harvey looked at Sonia and said. Afterwards, Harvey disappeared directly into the temple. "Yes." After hearing this, Sonia nodded in response extremely seriously. She knew that Mr. Cassidy would still be able to hear him even if he had left. Because she is as weak as she is, after receiving further blessings, she can now directly listen to the goings-on outside the temple. Not to mention the mysterious and great Mr. Cassidy, the entire island and even the whole world may be under the sight of Mr. Cassidy. Immediately, Sonia walked out of the temple. She was very careful at first, but after only walking a few dozen meters, she started to speed up slightly. Within a few minutes, Sonia was moving between the big trees on the island, as dexterous as a butterfly. Feel the comfort of the breeze blowing on your face, and the feeling that everything within 100 meters around you is under your control. This is the power of the void. Great and glorious Mr. Cassidy, thank you from the bottom of my heart for granting me this opportunity. Sonia's snow-white jade feet touched the branches of the big tree one after another without causing any shaking. She flew directly up to the top of a big tree more than 20 meters high. Her body was extremely stable and she looked at the sea in the distance. His eyes were full of surprise and awe. Harvey landed directly in a European-style villa. He was extremely satisfied when he saw that the layout inside was very different from what he had mentioned to Sonia. The villa is located halfway up a mountain, close to the highest point of the island. When Harvey came to the balcony, he could see the harbor dozens of miles away. Apparently Sonia considered that according to his ability, he could see all parts of the island from a high place, so he specially built the villa in this place. There is also a telescope on the balcony. When Sonia usually serves him here in the future, she can more easily control the situation of the island. Harvey walked around the villa and found that except for the surveillance cameras installed around the villa, the harbor, and the training room, there were no surveillance cameras installed in other places on the island. It was obvious that Sonia had considered the situation and felt there was no need to pretend more. Harvey was aware of this intention and had no objection to it. After all, no one likes to live under surveillance. However, he could find a way to bring this gravity device back to Tony for a look. Not to mention a complete copy, but Fantanai was able to get some inspiration from it and develop a less sophisticated gravity device. It can also allow Blue Star's technology and process to break through an important threshold. But before that, after Harvey visited the villa, he took out the cosmic communicator and casually sent a message without any nonsense. Believe in the Great Void and join the glorious evolution, Kassadin, the God of the Void. The Church of the Void God gives everyone a chance. If you want to get the power to change your life, come to the Void Island 40 nautical miles southeast of Falling Star Harbor. Then Harvey ignored it and planned to go to the training base 20 miles away from the villa to take a look. The gravity device is a good thing. For example, in the world-famous Dragon Ball in the previous life, Sun Wukong trained in the gravity chamber for a period of time. The strength has improved by leaps and bounds, making Harvey feel very awesome. After he gained strength, he also wanted to try whether exercising with 100 times gravity would be effective. It's just that Blue Star doesn't have such high technology. Now that he finally has a gravity chamber, even if it may not have such a powerful training effect, he will definitely want to play it. The next second, Harvey came directly outside the training ground. From the outside, the entire training ground is made of black ink-colored metal. It covers an area of more than 500 meters and is divided into 10 floors. It looks like a black tower. Harvey looked at the floors from the outside and found that each floor was marked with a different number. Among them, the first highest level has 2 times the gravity, and the 10th level the highest has 100 times the gravity. Even without any weight, if you can adapt to the 100 times gravity at the bottom layer by layer, your physical fitness will become inhuman. It's just impossible for ordinary people to do it, even if they use some genetic medicine or weird medicine to help them adapt slowly. But this adaptation process must be accompanied by unimaginable pain. It's no wonder that Sonia specifically explained before that a training ground that meets his requirements would cost a lot of money. Sonia asked for more than 150 million from herself, an estimated 1/3 of which would be spent on this training ground. Spending more than 50 million to build a gravity training ground that is useless to ordinary people may seem crazy to others. But for those who have gained the power of the void, this will be an excellent place. Because rapid evolution and adaptation in extreme environments is a characteristic of the void. Although the process will be painful, the time of this process will definitely be shortened a lot. And after complete evolution, the power will last a lifetime without the side effects of strange pharmaceutical assistance. Afterwards, Zavi walked directly into the training ground. As Harvey approached the door to the first floor, the lights automatically turned on. It looks like a dark tower from the outside, but it doesn't look dark inside. On the contrary, it's very bright. But Harvey didn't feel the change in gravity. He thought about it and understood. Gravity must change the gravity in a small range only after special instruments are turned on. If the entire black tower maintains gravity throughout the whole process, let alone whether the Earth can bear it, the people who install these devices will definitely not be able to bear it. And it is fully covered with 10 floors. Even 50 million people may not be able to fit this training ground. Ask for votes. Chapter 93 Fast and Slow Methods. Harvey walked through the passage and saw a staircase winding up. There was obviously no hanging ladder. If you want to go upstairs, you have to walk on your own. He went directly to the 10th floor without hesitation, intending to try the 100 times gravity chamber. His physical body was able to directly bear the weight of the 10,000 meter deep ocean more than half a year ago, and just 100 times gravity was obviously no more than a joke to him. If he wanted to practice through the gravity chamber, he would have to build a more advanced one. Warning! Warning! This floor is a 100-fold gravity room, please be careful in all your actions. Please make sure there are no living things in the gravity chamber before activating the device. If you insist on going your own way and cause any consequences, our company will not be responsible. As Harvey reached the 10th floor, the red alarm lights turned on the entire floor, and a mechanical sound resounded directly through the floor, constantly warning Harvey not to mess around without permission. Once the alarm sounds, it can be regarded as preventing others from deliberately using the gravity chamber to commit murder. Harvey didn't have a fingerprint record or anything like that, and he didn't have an ID card. But he didn't care, and his body escaped directly into the void, passed directly through the heavy door in front of him, and entered a room. This room is located at an elevated position, and a larger platform can be seen from the window. Affixed to all sides of the platform were pitch-black instruments the likes of which Harvey had never seen before. Don't think that as soon as these instruments are activated, the platform below will increase gravity. Because there was a translator. He didn't worry about not being able to understand, so Harvey just studied the buttons in the room for a while, and then found the switch. Harvey pressed it lightly, and with a buzz sound, the instruments around the platform below emitted intertwining and rotating light waves visible to the naked eye. And in Harvey's sight, there is a gravity multiplier on a projection, and the number keeps rising. The air on the platform below also began to distort. When the gravity finally reached 100 times, the number did not increase. The platform below also lit up with scarlet lights, seeming to warn all living creatures of the danger here. Harvey escaped into the void, passed through the matter, and entered the gravity chamber that had turned red. When he first stepped in, Harvey felt a light tap on his shoulders. He weighs only over 140 kilograms, and the golden armor on his body is a product of void magic. It is solid but has no weight at all. The weight of only 14,000 kilograms is like scratching an itch for Harvey now. But this is entirely due to the fact that he has no weights on him. If he can just bring some weights that can withstand gravity and practice together, he will definitely be able to work up a sweat. Harvey was very happy. If this thing could be raised to 1,000 times the gravity, it would definitely become a place for him to have fun occasionally in the future. Afterwards, Harvey directly turned off the switch and left the Black Tower. He planned to ask Sonia which company made these gravity devices. Let's see if we can create a higher gravity, and see if we can buy a small gravity instrument for Tony to take back. The Void Cult only needs him to be in charge when it is first established, and then Sonia can be allowed to take charge of the Void Cult on Xandar. As long as more and more members believe in the Void Cult, other planets will gradually add Void Temples. Harvey descended directly through the void, and when he returned to the villa, he found that Sonia was also walking up the stairs. You have adapted so quickly. It seems you are very talented. Harvey said after seeing Sonia. He knew that he had only been away from Sonia for about half an hour, but Sonia had already adapted to coming, which was obviously talented. Thank you for the compliment, Mr. Kassadin. I just adapted to how to use my strength. I haven't adapted yet to how to maximize my strength and learn various fighting techniques, so I have to continue to work hard. Sonia knew that Mr. Kassadin had gone to the training ground just now, so she was not surprised to see Mr. Kassadin suddenly appear, and said with a smile. Not only can you gain strength by believing in the void, but you can also gain a lifespan of at least hundreds of years. You have plenty of time, so you don't need to put too much pressure on yourself. Harvey heard Sonia's remarks and said casually. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Mr. Kassadin, I have already informed them of the chef you selected. One batch will arrive at the island in an hour and prepare food for you. Because of the rush, the goods need to be transported tomorrow, so there will be no afternoon tea and desserts today. But starting tomorrow, they will prepare food and drinks for you on time. So please forgive me. When Sonia heard that there were still hundreds of years, she responded with a smile and then said a little apologetically. It doesn't matter. I won't starve to death if I don't eat. Compared with these things, Sonia, I have something to ask you. Harvey waved his hand casually after hearing this, not caring much. Mr. Kassadin, whatever you want to ask me, as long as I understand it, I will explain it to you. Sonia saw that Mr. Kassadin said such words that could easily be misunderstood, but she did not mean to misunderstand and said directly. She didn't know what Mr. Kassadin thought of her, but for Sonia, she was in awe of Mr. Kassadin. Even if Mr. Cassadine planned to let her spend the evening together, she would be willing. But she was sure that Mr. Cassadine would not suddenly make such a request. About which company built the gravity training room? Can their company order a higher magnification gravity chamber? After hearing this, Harvey directly stated his problem. The gravity chamber is a technological product of Winjeesa's company. And because gravity technology is not conventional technology for civilian use, the sales target more lab and military exploits. Provide special test sites for various laboratories, and also use them on the battlefield as military auxiliary equipment and for use by various soldiers of the Nova Corps for special combat drills. So whether or not they can customize it, they are restricted. Regular buyers like us can only buy conventional gravity instruments. Higher level customization is impossible without sufficient authority. Sonia heard this question, came 5 meters in front of Harvey, clicked on the communicator on her right hand, and then released a projection of information related to Winjeesa's. While making it easier for Mr. Cassadine to understand, it also explained some of the circumstances of her investigation. What she bought was a conventional gravity device belonging to the Winjeesa's company. Can't it be made to order? Then help me buy all the portable small gravity instruments that I can buy. Harvey heard that it couldn't be made to order, so he thought about it and said, when Dam begins to develop into the Nova Corps and takes a higher position, he should be able to ask Dam to help communicate and then make custom orders. But compared to this slow method, he has a faster method, which is to bring back some important samples for Tony to study. Tony can study alien technology and master more abilities in technology. He was also able to get Tony to specialize in some more powerful gravity devices. Let him find a suitable place to vent the power in his body from time to time. So this is a win-win situation, so Harvey is not worried that Tony is unwilling to do it, but he just needs to take the time to go back to Blue Star. Ask for votes. Chapter 94 News Spread. Okay. When Sonia heard that she wanted to order something, she nodded slightly and recorded it. After you take care of this chore, you will be free to move around until others visit the island. After Harvey gave instructions, he waited patiently. It would take some time for the news to spread, but he was sure that someone would come to visit within a few days. In this cosmic enemy, where the weak are the strongest, if there is a chance to gain power, even if it costs a lot, some people are willing to take the risk. Sonia heard that she could move freely without any surprises. On the contrary, she wanted to ask Mr. Cassadine what he planned to do to spread the reputation of the Void cult and let more people come into contact with the Void faith. But when she saw Mr. Cassadine not in any hurry, she no longer worried. She left the hall, returned to her room, and went to deal with the matter directly. Ask the other party to mail the items directly to the island and then sign for them. And the news with Cassadine's signature spread quietly in the Bounty world. Cassadine's name is well known in the Bounty world. Cassadine has not made much noise in the Bounty world in the past few months since he was active. But not long ago, news with Cassadine's signature spread. Among them, the bounty hunters of Xandar Star gathered directly at the bounty bar of Xandar Star. Predictor, have you also seen the news? A very fashionable silver-haired man wearing a silver cloak saw someone arriving and said, isn't it the same for you? The so-called prophet was a bandaged man covered in a black cloak. When he walked into the bar and heard this sentence, he was not surprised and said it directly. Join Glorious Evolution, Rinaldi, Predictor, do you think this opportunity is real or not? A shirtless, 2-meter-3 tall man with blonde, spiky hair said. I am willing to give everyone a chance to change their lives. I understand that the god of the void, Cassadine, is not such a compassionate person. The silver-haired man Rinaldi heard this question and spoke. Cassadine has reached the top of the bounty world in just a few months. He is mysterious and powerful. It's a pity that I can't see through the future related to Cassadine in my future. Otherwise, if you lurk near the location above, you should be able to directly understand some of the situation. The prophet heard this and spoke. Predicting the future is his greatest reliance, and now someone he cannot predict has appeared. If Cassadine wanted to kill him, he would be equivalent to an unarmed mortal with no room for resistance or escape. I think you're overcomplicating things. The strength of Cassadine, the god of the void, is undoubtedly superior to all the people and forces on Xandar. I don't think you have any doubt that Cassadine is capable of destroying Xandar alone, right? The big guy named Kyle said speechlessly when he saw that his companion who often cooperated with him was so frightened before he even saw him. That's right. Renoli heard what Kyle said and wanted to refute, but his strength did not allow it, so he could only agree. The prophet also nodded when he heard this, leaving no room for refutation. Then this guy who can rely on his own strength can do things based on his heart. We don't need to guess too much. Let's simplify the complex and think about Casadan's behavior literally. This news mentions the void divine cult. Whether it is you or me, we have never heard of any planet having this influence in the universe for so many years. So now that Casadan has established the void cult, it can be understood that Casadan plans to form a force on Xandar. If you form a force, you definitely can't be a bald commander, so it's normal that the phrase "I'm willing to give everyone a chance to change their lives" should be used as a recruitment slogan. Seeing that both of them agreed with his words, Kyle clapped his hands and said directly. With his strength, does he still need to establish a force? When Renali heard Kyle's words, although he agreed in his heart, he couldn't help but have a question in his heart. It's better that he wants to form a force just because he has this kind of power. Think of Odin in Asgard and Zeus in Olympus. Thanos, the Collector, etc., who have stirred up troubles in the universe in recent years. They are strong men that few people in the universe can match. No one can deny this. While they are strong, they also have one thing in common. They have all formed their own forces. Except for big things, all you need to do is give instructions and someone will help them get it done. After hearing this, Kyle analyzed the two of them very seriously. I heard you say this as a courtesy, but Kyle, why do I think you are a little excited about this? When Renali heard what Kyle said, although he understood in his heart, he looked at Kyle with a strange look. This guy Kyle only has 3 hobbies. One is to exercise to become stronger, running around holding huge rocks to exercise every day, the other is to rely on his own strength to make a lot of money, and the last one is to use the money earned to pick up different women. According to Kyle, he has great love in his heart and wants to give all homeless women, beauties, a safe haven. Apart from these 3 hobbies, Kyle doesn't care about many things. Now when it comes to the fact that Casadan suddenly released information that could not be determined to be true or false and whether it was dangerous, but he said it so enthusiastically, Renoli found it weird. Of course I'm excited because this is our opportunity. When Kyle heard this, he admitted his excitement very simply and said with an extremely serious expression. You didn't even discuss it with us, why did you take us with you? Renali saw Kyle's appearance and realized what Kyle was thinking when he heard these words, but because of this, he was speechless. Brothers, aren't I just discussing with you now? I'm a natural god, Renoli, you're a supersonic, plus a precog. If the 3 of us go together, we will have an advantage over the others. When Kyle heard Renoli's words, he patted his chest and said. Let's go, he finally convinced us. The prophet stood up after hearing this and spoke. How did he do it? Renoli asked with some curiosity but not much surprise when he heard that he was also convinced. Duel as usual. The prophet paused after hearing this and then spoke. I see, then let's go and see it together. Renoli heard the old method and looked at Kyle, whose eyes were shining with excitement, and he understood. As expected of my good brother. When Kyle saw the 2 of them agreeing to go together, he stretched out his hands to hug their shoulders to celebrate. The predictor took 2 steps back, and Renoli also dodged and appeared 3 meters away, avoiding this bear hug that could directly break a person's bones. Kyle, don't be happy too early. Whether it will work or not depends on the thoughts of Casadan, the god of the void. After Renault avoided it, he spoke. You have to give it a try, right? If Casadan wants to kill people, there is no need to use forming a force as a cover. I have a feeling this is definitely going to be our opportunity. Kyle hugged Kong and leaned forward. Just when he was about to fall to the floor, he straightened up with his feet and said with a smile. Just as the 3 of them were about to leave. A female voice sounded next to them. Wait a minute, can you take me with you? Can. When the prophet heard this, he spoke directly. Renoli and Kyle saw the prophet agreeing directly. They turned around and saw that it was Lacey. She wanted to use this to make a difference. She convinced us with that argument. Seeing the confused look on the 2 men's faces, the prophet spoke. Then let's go. When Renoli and Kyle heard this reason, they glanced at Lacey and understood. Chapter 95. Is it so fast? After seeing the news, the only people who wanted to go and find out more were people like Kyle, Renoli, Predictor, and Lacey. It's just that others plan to let others explore the path first and are still waiting and watching. If Casadan, the god of the void, really intends to establish a force and give those who join the opportunity to become stronger, then they will go immediately. At the same time, the news released by Harvey is not only spread among the bounty hunting world. People on Xandar planet can also learn about this news as long as they surf the internet or have more information channels. Master Kassadin established the Void Cult and announced the location. It's not far from us, do we need to go and see it? It's not even noon yet, let's go after get off work. Okay, it's settled. Dam and several of his brothers also learned the news, exchanged their opinions, and made a plan in just a few sentences. During this month, they truly felt the greatness of the Void. With their increasingly powerful strength, they became determined workers. They would find hard work every time they took a break, and their efforts in moving bricks made them earn more money. Originally, they wanted to quit their jobs as guards and concentrate on moving bricks, because the salary was 5 times what their job was. But Dam said that by retaining his current status, it would be easier to apply for the Nova Corps assessment in the future. As long as they pass the assessment and join the new Legion, they will receive the new Star Armor. Even if it is the initial 1-star Nova Armor, as long as it is added to its increasingly powerful power as it evolves, it will definitely make a leap in its strength. They can make really big money with their improved strength. Dam's plan made the 3 of them feel very reasonable, so they gave up the idea of leaving their jobs. However, there was no objection to the discussion that it was time to visit Lord Kassadin now. As time passes, the news released in the name of Kassadin is spreading throughout the universe at an extremely fast speed, letting more people know about it. In the Void Island, Sonia directly ordered a batch of different basic gravity facilities from Winjisa's company online. She didn't know which one Mr. Kassadin wanted, or what he wanted with such a useless thing. But Mr. Kassadin told her to buy it, and she must have bought everything she could. After buying it, Sonia started looking for various fighting tutorials on the internet. Her strength has improved significantly, but she doesn't know how to fully utilize her strength, so she must seize the time to learn. When the chef arrives, Sonia will also arrange for them to move into a house and kitchen specially prepared for the chef. Although there was not much time, Sonia had no intention of wasting it. She concentrated on watching various fighting techniques, constantly replaying them in her mind to deepen her impression of these actions. Originally, Sonia thought that she would have at least 3 hours to spare, because according to the plan, the chefs would not arrive until the noon flight. But in less than an hour, Sonia received a message from AI notifying her that someone had landed on the island. This made Sonia, who was training with her fists against a huge piece of wood, stunned for a moment. It won't be so soon, will it? Immediately, Sonia thought of something and murmured in disbelief. At the same time, Sonia also turned on the communicator, and a projection appeared. 4 people came to the island harbor, 3 men and 1 woman. When Sonia saw these 4 people boarding the harbor, they did not behave strangely. Instead, they looked cautious. She looked at her current appearance, her whole body covered in sweat, and decided to take a shower first, and then go see Mr. Kassadin for advice. The other party may have received the news from somewhere and wanted to come and learn about the Void God cult. She can be more casual in front of Mr. Kassadin, because Mr. Kassadin doesn't care about this. However, she must pay a little attention to her behavior and image in front of other teachers of the Void God cult in the future. So Sonia quickly returned to the villa and ran into the bathroom in her bedroom. Then in just 10 minutes, Sonia changed her clothes. The upper body was in white and the lower body was in shorts. The whole person looked extremely sunny, pure, and moving. It was easy for people to have some good impressions at first sight, and it would not make people feel bad. What's the danger? Mr. Kassadin, an outsider, landed on the island 11 minutes ago. They were not the chefs originally scheduled. Sonia came 5 meters away from Harvey and said respectfully. I know they're following the path now. You go to the temple and wait for them. Just let them see the stone tablet. If they understand it and want to believe, let them stay. If they don't want to, let them leave. Harvey saw Sonia changing her clothes. When he heard these words, he didn't ask why he came to report now, but said casually. Yes. Sonia nodded at these instructions and left. Harvey knew several people who came this time, 3 of whom were superpowers, and 1 was Lacey, who had met him several times. As soon as the news spread, they were attracted, and the effect was extremely good. But whether these people can seize the opportunity depends on whether they are willing to believe it after talking to Sonia. If he didn't believe that he didn't take the opportunity to leave, Harvey wouldn't feel a pity. Because after the Void Temple is established and the news is spread, many people will come. He is willing to give people opportunities, but it also depends on whether the other party can seize the opportunity. If you show an arrogant attitude towards Sonia, who has joined the Void but is still weak, then your character will obviously not pass the test. Once this kind of person gains more powerful power, he will completely release the proud nature in his heart. Harvey drank an iced drink while observing the first group of visitors. And Sonia quickly and nimbly shuttled between the trees, and soon came to the stairs of the Void Temple to stand still, waiting for the first batch of arrivals. Even if Mr. Kassadin is not in the temple, Sonia believes that Mr. Kassadin must be in the villa observing all the behavior of the visitors. And according to Mr. Kassadin's words, Sonia knew that Mr. Kassadin only gave the comer a chance. Whether the visitor can seize the opportunity or not depends entirely on his words, deeds, thoughts, and whether he can impress Mr. Kassadin. Finally, let Mr. Kassadin send a blessing to those who come to join the Great Void. And Sonia is also very clear about herself. Due to her abilities, she can only be regarded as Mr. Kassadin's housekeeper at most, and cannot be called Mr. Kassadin's agent, but she will act on his behalf. Make efforts in the direction of the person. Thanks to Silver Fox Don't Eat Malison and Life is Like a Dream for your reward. It will be on the shelves on July 1st. I hope you can support it then. Chapter 96 The First Visitors. Renoli, Kyle, Predictor, and Lacey are walking along the road. The location Kassadin mentioned is definitely this island, right? We have walked 7 or 8 miles, why haven't we seen a single person? Renoli looked around and found no more people, so he spoke. Because he knew that even if he failed to join, as long as he didn't make any rash moves, he would probably be able to escape unscathed, so he didn't feel too nervous. The location is spot on. After hearing this, Kyle clicked on the communicator and repeatedly confirmed the location. I've already asked. They saw Kassadin going to sea with a woman named Sonia this morning. There is no doubt that the island of the woman named Sonia is the same location as the one where Kassadin sent the message. And the real owner of Sonia's island should be Kassadin. The prophet's words were like a tranquilizer. The others were completely relieved and continued walking forward. Lacey's physical fitness can only be considered as ordinary. She doesn't know how long she will have to go, but she still wants to follow and take a look. After Kassadin said that they would meet again, she never saw Kassadin in person again. Kassadin has become a legend in the bounty world in just a few months. She also wanted to find Kassadin, hoping to find some shelter. However, although it has been rumored that Kassadin is on Xandar, no one knows where Kassadin is, so there is no way to find him. Now Kassadin has finally sent out some news personally, and also said that he is willing to give everyone a chance. Faced with this opportunity, Lacey felt that she had to give it a try no matter what. Let me follow the road and take a look ahead. You may not be able to wander into other locations, but you should be able to follow the road. Renoli followed them for a while and then spoke. Leave it to you, be careful. We are just visiting guests, and we must abide by the guests' attitude. But even if there is no result, 90% of us will be able to leave safely. Kyle heard Renoli's initiative to go ahead and explore the way ahead. He knew Renoli's ability after working together many times, but he still gave the instruction. Renault nodded slightly when he heard the words, and then his body flashed and turned into a black shadow and quickly followed the road. Within 10 minutes, Renoli came back and received the exact news. 100 miles away, I saw a temple and a statue of Kassadin. I can be 100% sure that the island mentioned in the news is here. Before he was sure whether the owner of the island was Kassadin. Renoli did not dare to run away on the island. Now that I'm sure, I don't dare to do it anymore, otherwise the impact of breaking the sound barrier will destroy the surrounding area. It will inevitably provoke Kassadin, and then he will really die. If he hadn't dared to run away, a round trip of just 100 miles wouldn't have taken him so much time. Ha ha ha, I'm right, Kassadin just wants to form a force. It is very likely that this is the beginning of the establishment of the Void God religion. If we join, we may get more benefits. Kyle immediately caught the message in Renoli's words and laughed. No sign of anyone else except the temple and that statue. Seeing Kyle's optimistic look, the prophet was not happy so quickly, but asked carefully. I went up alone, so I don't know. Renoli heard the question and shouted. Normal people feel ashamed when they feel scared. Why don't you dare to feel so proud? Kyle said speechlessly when he saw Renoli's expression and attitude. I'm a coward and you're a tough guy. When the time comes, you'll be the first to get up. After hearing Kyle's words, Renali spread his hands and admitted that he was scared. Why should I be the first to go up there? Shouldn't we go up together? When Kyle heard that he was the first to go up, he was immediately unhappy. Aren't you a tough guy? You must be the one taking the lead. Why don't you feel scared too? Renoli looked at Kyle with strange eyes after hearing this. While several people were arguing, a voice rang from the side. I'll be the first to go up then. Lacey said with a serious face. Unlike these three superpowers, when she heard the news, her priority was to capture the distance. There is no transportation for this distance, so walking by foot would take a long time. But knowing that this was indeed Cassaden's temple, she had nothing to fear. Although they only had 2 initial contacts with him, Cassaden left a good impression on her. He was easy to get along with, generous and not too arrogant. So even if this encounter fails, she will definitely be able to leave the island safely. This is why she dared to face countless people who were unable to determine whether the news was true or false, and whether it might be a trap. Hearing the conversation between Renoli and the others, he dared to talk to them and asked why they came together. Okay. I'll leave it to you. It's more than 100 miles away. It's not easy for you to walk directly. Let me give you a ride. When Renoli heard what Lacey said, he did not refuse. Instead, he expressed his goodwill and was willing to give Lacey a ride. Well, please. Lacey said gratefully upon hearing this. Then let me give the prophet a ride. When Kyle heard this, he looked at the prophet who had been walking silently behind. Okay, then see you in front of the temple. Renali directly picked up Lacey and ran quickly, and Rico disappeared. Hold on tight. Kyle also reached out and grabbed the prophet, put it behind his back and said. Both feet burst out with energy and instantly turned into an afterimage, moving forward along the road. 10 minutes later, the 4 of them arrived 100 meters in front of a temple. Should I say it, this temple looks a bit like a base camp. With this location and the size of the island, we shouldn't be able to win it without 4 to 5 billion. Even in Xandar City, a mansion and estate only costs a few million. This is not Xandar City. Are you telling me that this undeveloped island costs 40 to 500 million? I'm afraid you're not kidding me. Although this island has not been developed, its size totals 327 square kilometers, and its location is not too far from Xandar City. So 4 to 5 billion is not impossible. When several people saw the temple, they did not go up immediately, but exchanged their thoughts. The technological level of Xandar is very high, and star navigation is the norm, so there is no shortage of places to stay. Moreover, the purchasing power of the universe is very high. What is really valuable are those large space battleships, which cannot be obtained for less than a few hundred million, and it requires not only money but also connections and channels. As for space fighters, they are much cheaper, ranging from millions to tens of millions or hundreds of millions. Is this undeveloped island worth as much as a large space battleship? Ask other people and you might get a different answer, but if you ask Renali, he'll definitely say it's not worth it. After all, it would cost a sky-high price to buy it and develop it. It would be better to get a space battleship to help you complete more difficult tasks better. In your spare time, you can also travel directly to various planets, and you can have as many cards as you want. But while several people were talking endlessly, a voice came from above. Welcome everyone, I am Mr. Cassadene's housekeeper, you can call me Sonia. Please come up, I will introduce the Void Cult to you. After hearing these words, several people looked up and saw a pure and lovely beauty with a smile on her face who looked harmless to humans and animals. Renault, the predictor, and Kyle looked at each other in confusion, asking what the other party meant and what to do now. However, when Lacey heard that she was going up, she had already lifted her steps and walked up the stairs. Chapter 97 The Mysterious Test. Upon seeing this, the 3 Renali slowly followed up. The stairs of the temple are roughly more than 30 meters long. This woman spoke from above, but her voice could be transmitted directly down. She was obviously not an ordinary person. So even if Kyle likes beautiful women, this Sonia is also a beauty but doesn't dare to think anything about it. It's true that he likes beautiful women, but he also has to pay attention to the occasion. The purpose of their visit this time was to see if they could join the Void Cult under Cassaden's name. Individuals are free to do bounty tasks, but if they can find a strong backer, they will have the opportunity to gain even more powerful power. This opportunity is obviously not to be missed. As they slowly walked up the stairs and reached the top platform, they saw a tall stone monument. The teachings in it are eye-catching. The Great Void will give all creatures the opportunity to believe in the Void. As long as they are pious enough, the Void will respond. This teaching lets them know that they have a chance. But the other 3 commandments, which mention staying rational at all times and prohibiting cannibalism, made them shudder. Just looking at the teachings and precepts on the stone tablet means that as long as you believe in the Void religion, you can gain power. It's just that force doesn't seem to be policy-oriented, and it's not that easy to control. And it may get out of control. Otherwise, there would be no mention of staying rational at all times. Normally, these can be told to others after they believe in the Void, join the Void cult, and there is no turning back. But Kassadin, the god of the Void, showed these directly. "Hello, Miss Sonia, what should I do?" Lacey also saw the translated teachings and precepts, and knew that by seizing this opportunity, she would be able to get out of her current job, so she asked respectfully without hesitation. "It is written on the stone tablet that as long as you are pious enough, the Void will respond." Sonia saw the longing in Lacey's eyes and saw her own shadow, knowing that Lacey also wanted to get out of her current situation, but she didn't say much and just said what was written. "This beautiful lady, can you give me some tips? We don't even understand what emptiness is, what counts as piety, and we don't know what to do." Kyle asked directly after hearing Sonia's words. Mr. Kassadin said that if you want to believe, you can stay. If you don't want to, you can leave on your own. As for what Void is about, I will tell you when you make the choice to join Void. Sonia said with a smile upon hearing this. Kassadin, the god of the Void, established the cult of the Void. Isn't he planning to form a force? Since you plan to form a force, why do you make the recruitment threshold so mysterious? The 3 of us are all superpowers. Recruiting us will definitely be his help. Renault was confused after hearing this, and asked with some confusion. For Mr. Kassadin, all intelligent creatures have the opportunity to believe in the Void. So whether you are an ordinary person or a person with superpowers, there is no difference between the 2. What matters is whether you are pious enough to be blessed by the Great Void. Sonia stood in front of the door of the temple, and upon hearing these words, she looked at Renelli with a smile. Renelli was extremely depressed when he heard that there was no difference. As one of the first people to come over, he thought that with his own strength, he would be able to successfully pass all kinds of tests and then join. "I never thought that the test given by the other party was not about strength but whether I was pious enough." This Sonia didn't give any hints. Who knows what to do to be pious? "Prophet, did you ask anything?" Kyle was confused when he heard these words. He knew that Renault didn't have any answers, so he looked at the prophet. In the past, they could solve many problems through prophets, because in the future observed by the prophets would take various actions to test other people's opinions. "My powers are disabled on this island, so there's no point in asking me." She said that the test has been written on the stone tablet. "You can find out by studying the stone tablet. Anyway, Kassadin is willing to let us decide to stay or leave according to our own wishes. If your life is not in danger, you don't need to worry too much." The prophet heard the words and made a deep voice. When he came to this island, his special ability of predicting could not be used, which actually made the predictor extremely uneasy. Therefore, I spoke less along the way and was always on guard against the surroundings to prevent any emergencies that I would not be able to dodge. But now that he knew that he could freely choose to stay or leave, it meant that Kassadin did not intend to kill them, which made the precog's uneasiness less a lot. At least it was a blessing to be able to leave the island safely no matter what happened. "I would like to study it, but how can I be regarded as pious?" Kyle heard the prophet's words and looked at the teachings on the stone tablet, not knowing how to start. As bounty hunters, they have always been unyielding, and at most they would be intimidated by people who were stronger than themselves. Check it, check it. Renault knew that he couldn't get anything out of Sonia's mouth, and he didn't dare to use force here, so he could only think of a way. Piety is an attitude, a sense of awe towards something. Similar to believing in gods. It seems so. How many people believe in God these days? Before discussing that, shouldn't we first think about what void is? I don't know the origin of Kassadin other than this. Renoli, Kyle, and the predictor stood directly in front of the stone tablet and discussed it carefully while looking at the translator on it. Lacey, on the other hand, felt that she must cherish this opportunity. Great Void, Please give me the strength to get out of this predicament. Lacey whispered and kept chanting. Because she is weak and can only rely on her skin to make money, she has experienced many things that ordinary people cannot bear. The weak in this world often have no choice but to accept the consequences. Only when you experience weakness and powerlessness can you become more eager to gain the strength to make changes. The postgraduate entrance examination given by Mr. Cassadin is extremely mysterious and can easily make people confused. She didn't know whether her actions were effective, but Lacey would not leave easily no matter what. She was mentally prepared before she heard the news and came here. Even if she has to withstand severe tests, she will eventually gain the strength to change her current situation and get out of trouble, no matter what she does. It will be on the shelves tomorrow, and there will be continuous updates after it is on the shelves. I hope you can support it. Chapter 98 Remarks on the launch. Unknowingly, it has been 44 days since this book was released. To be honest, it was my first time writing a Marvel fanfic, and I didn't expect to be able to advance all the way and reach 20,000 collections before it was released on the shelves. I would like to thank all readers for your continued reading, rewards, recommendations and monthly votes. And I would like to thank my editor for her good luck. I have finished all the new book recommendations. Although I regret not being able to advance to the home page, the results have exceeded my expectations. The update will be a little later tonight because it won't be available until 12:05 p.m. The plan is to sell it for at least 10 consecutive days after it is put on the shelves, so I hope you can support the first order. It's really important for me to have a slightly better first order, so I'd like to thank you all for this. Chapter 99 Patience and Desire. Renoli, Kyle, and the predictor saw Lacey keep mumbling. Is this really useful? I do not know. No way. The three of them were observing Sonia while discussing, trying to find some useful information from Sonia. But Sonia's expression remained unchanged and she still kept her smile, so they couldn't find any useful information at all. So the three of them could only continue to look at the commandments and teachings on the stone tablets and ponder them on their own. A few hours passed unknowingly. Sonia received news that the chef had arrived on the island. I still have some things to be busy with. If you want to believe me, you can stay. If you don't believe me, you can leave the island on your own. So Sonia looked at them, said something, and left. Lacey's eyes became even more determined when she saw Sonia leaping down from the temple, landing on a tree below, and quickly leaving after releasing her strength. The other three people can completely see Sonia's movements. In terms of the strength shown by Sonia, it is not very strong. But they did not dare to underestimate Sonia. After all, the person behind Sonia was Cassadin, the god of the void. What should we do now? It's been several hours and I can't think of any good countermeasures. Kyle said helplessly. I don't have any ideas about what actions can express my piety. If this delay continues, we may not be the first to join after today. Renault couldn't help but feel a little anxious. Don't worry, it's not a bad thing if others come. Tests generally depend on one's character. Let's stay here for a day or two and see. Now that you're here, be more patient. Seeing that the two of them were getting impatient, the prophet said calmly. The two looked at each other and nodded. Lacey didn't know what to do, so she could only keep talking about longing for the blessing of the void. Sonia first went to the harbor, took the chefs to check in, and explained to the chefs the 5 timings of Mr. Cassadin's daily diet. Then she returned to the villa. Mr. Cassadin, the chefs have arrived. You can eat in another hour. Sonia looked at Mr. Cassadin who was sitting on the balcony looking into the distance, came a few meters behind him, and said. Well, and you did a great job. Harvey nodded slightly when he heard this. Thank you for the compliment, Mr. Cassadin, but what should we do with those people now? Just leave them alone. When Sonia heard the compliment, she first responded, then couldn't help feeling concerned and asked softly. When other people arrive in the future, just say that like you did to them. I will know if they are pious enough. Harvey heard this and spoke. As for his judgment standard, it is naturally whether the system comes to remind him. According to his experience, in order to pass the system's judgment standards, the target needs to be curious about the void, respect the void from the heart, and have a longing for the void. Lacey had actually passed the system's judgment more than an hour ago and was just waiting for his permission. And the 3 superpowers are also waiting for his permission. The reason Harvey didn't pass immediately was because he was observing the character of the 3 superpowers. These 3 superpowers are different from the weak people who long for power to change. The three of them already have considerable strength. If they obtain the power of the void, the strength of the three of them will definitely increase further. If they are aggressive and destructive, they will cause some trouble. Harvey doesn't want to be the nanny to wipe out the trouble caused by these teachers. So his character needs to undergo some tests. And this test is a test of patience. People who are anxious can easily cause disasters on impulse. Okay, then you can call me if you need anything. Sonia saw that Mr. Cassadin had already planned this matter, so she didn't ask too much and went to the kitchen instead. The time came to the evening unknowingly. Several people came in the morning and now they can be thirsty and hungry. It's been a long time, and now I'm thirsty and hungry. Let's find something to eat first. Renoli felt hungry and spoke. I would like to find something to eat, but can I hunt here? Kyle was a little moved when he heard this, but he still didn't dare to mess around in the territory of Cassadin, the god of the void. We can't hunt. Let's go fishing in the sea. Seeing Kyle's eager but cowardly look, Renoli said speechlessly. Yeah, Lacey, do you want to eat something? Kyle reacted immediately when he heard it, and then looked at Lacey who was kneeling on the ground. Even though her lips were chapped due to thirst, she still kept whispering prayers. Well, sorry for bothering you, I'll take this 1,000 yuan as a thank you gift. Lacey opened her eyes after hearing this, reached into her pocket, took out 1,000 yuan, and said. This 1,000 yuan was enough for the other party to bring back some food for himself. Kyle wanted to say that it was just a trivial matter and it didn't require any money, but before he could say anything, he saw the prophet shaking his head at him. Then wait here, we will be back soon. Kyle understood and reached out to take the money from Lacey's hand. In the past, it would have been enough for him to contact Lacey and take advantage of it, but this time after receiving money, he felt that it was not a good idea to do so. Afterwards, Lacey was left alone in the temple, and the other three left first to find food. Predictor, we have known Lacey for several years, and we are still friends at best. Why are you still taking money from her? Kyle asked as he carried the prophet on his back and ran towards the harbor. The three of us came here to join Cassadin and join the void cult. But Lacey came here longing for power. The prophet paused after hearing this, and said with a somewhat complicated look. What's the difference between the two? When Kyle heard these words, he thought for a moment and said with a confused look. Idiot, the difference is that we can't take refuge. At worst, we can just go back. After all, we are also superpowers. Lacey came here longing to gain power. If she doesn't gain power, I'm afraid she won't be willing to go back. Renoli also understood what the prophet meant and said directly when he saw Kyle being so stupid. I see. Kyle understood completely after hearing this. Immediately, when the three of them came to the harbor while talking, they happened to see 4 people landing on the island. This is Lord Cassadin's island. It's so big. Stop talking nonsense, go to the temple quickly and see if you can meet Lord Cassadin. Let's go. A few people just came down and started running along the road. Wait a minute. Renoli was filled with awe when he heard them calling Cassadin, his heart moved, and he immediately stood in front of them in a flash. There are 6 updates on the shelves. This is the first update. Please subscribe. Chapter 100 The Purpose of Establishing a Religion. Dam only saw a dark shadow flashing past and stretched out his hand to block it. Barnett, Primo, and Philip saw Dam suddenly reaching out, and their bodies suddenly stopped. What do you want to do? Dam stood in front of his 3 brothers and looked at the silver-haired man in front of him with alert eyes. Judging from the speed shown by the opponent, Dam knew that if a fight broke out, he and his team would never be able to defeat him, so he could only use verbal negotiation to avoid a fight. Renoli saw that the leader of the 4 people actually caught some traces of himself, and knew that even if this person was not very strong, he was probably a person with superpowers. Don't be nervous, I don't mean any harm. My name is Renoli, a 2nd-level bounty hunter. I and several of my companions are here to pay a visit to Cassadin, the god of the void. Did you also see the news spread by the god of the void, Cassadin, and come here to seek power? If so, maybe we could have a chat. Maybe we will become companions in the future. Therefore, Renault's attitude was also extremely friendly. He spread his palms and took 2 steps back. Damu's eyes flashed when he heard Renali said that he came to seek strength. He wanted to say that he had been blessed by the Great Void. My name is Dam, from the city guard of Xandar City. We are indeed here to seek strength. However, Dam recalled the reminder that Master Kassadin reminded him at that time, and spoke. He kept in mind what Master Kassadin said, only by talking to others and talking to ghosts can he get away with it. In addition, he had to hide his power for more than a month, so Dam was more cautious. Barnett, Primo, and Philip, with Dam as their boss, remained silent when they heard these words. That's easy to say. We've already arrived in the morning, and now we're planning to catch some fish to get some food. You guys wait for us, can we exchange some experiences then? Renali heard Dam's words and spoke. Although these people say that they are from the city guard of Xandar City, this does not mean that they are their true identities. Lacey is the only one in the temple now. If they meet Lacey in the past, something bad might happen. People with superpowers, even if they are not very powerful superpowers, are still very different from ordinary people. This is not because Renault is dark in his heart, but in this remote and huge primitive island, many things that are done cannot even be heard outside. Okay, let's share some experiences together then. Dam heard that the other party wanted to catch fish to get some food. Anyway, he was off work and had a lot of time, so he didn't refuse. Although he was afraid of Renault, he was not too afraid because he believed that Lord Kassadin must be observing them. What's going on, Renali? Kyle came to Renali's side at this time and said. There is only one person in the temple right now, Lacey. I don't worry about them going directly there now. Renali whispered after hearing this. You are worried too much. This island is also controlled by Kassadin after all. As visitors who hope to join the Void Cult, even if we fail to join, Kassadin will not deliberately watch Lacey, an ordinary person, die in the temple, right? This is his territory. Kyle wasn't too worried when he heard these words. What if Kassadin doesn't care about this? Don't be afraid of 10,000, just be afraid of what happens. Renoli whispered after hearing this. Although Lacey is famous for relying on her body to make money in the bounty bar, there is a completely different thing between being proactive and being forced. Since Lacey came with them, no matter whether it was successful or not, before he left here, Lacey's safety must be guaranteed. Dam's current hearing can easily hear the subtle wind sounds 100 meters around, so he can naturally hear Renali's deliberately lowered voice. After hearing this, he temporarily let down his guard. Let's fish together and see who can catch more. A smile appeared on Dam's face and he spoke. Okay, how about the loser treating the winner to a drink? When Renault heard this, he became more competitive and made a small fortune. Good. Damu agreed after hearing this. Renault hopes to join the Void Cult. If he joins, they will have plenty of time to interact with each other. Even if Renoli fails to join, he will become stronger and will not be afraid of being friends regardless of the difference in strength or status. The few of them agreed to go directly to the sea to fish, shirtless and wearing pants. In the villa, Harvey was observing all this while eating. Although Renali, Kyle, and the Predictor did not receive his blessing, they did not appear to be in a hurry. On the contrary, they had plans to spend time with him here. However, Harvey did not immediately agree to let them join the Void, and planned to wait for a while before talking. If these three people have not left in a few days, then give them a chance to join the Void. He can give anyone a chance to join the Void, but the opportunity is reserved for those who are prepared and those who truly desire to become stronger. As for Dam and the others, we don't need to worry about them for the time being. Mr. Kassadin, those gravity devices you want me to purchase will be delivered tomorrow morning. I wonder how you plan to use it. Sonia stood aside and asked. Mr. Kassadin can move freely in the 100-fold gravity chamber, which is more useful than those conventional gravity devices. If those conventional gravity devices were not used by other teachers who joined the Void Cult, she would never have imagined what Mr. Kassadin planned to use them for. You can just find a place to put it, just tell me where to put it. I'll have use for it in a few days. Harvey heard this and spoke. He has not returned to Blue Star for several months. After he has finished the busiest period of spreading the news, it will be time for him to return to Blue Star for a visit. He established the Void Cult on Xandar Star not only because the environment here is similar to that of Blue Star and the population is large, which is conducive to spreading the teachings of the Void. More importantly, Harvey doesn't need to take the initiative to find the Infinity Stones. In just a few years, Star-Lord will deliver the Power Stone to the Nova Corps on Xandar. When he wants to get the Power Stone, as long as Sonia sends him a message and knows that Ronan has arrived on Xandar, he can directly get the Power Stone. Give him a few more years to grow up, and Thanos will just start collecting the Infinity Stones. It will be absolutely impossible to take the Power Stone from his hands. Okay, after I receive the goods, I will place them in storage room No. 1 underground. When Sonia heard that she could find a place to put it, she immediately answered. End of the chapter. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.